Hey, hey, hey. Wait, isn't today Fallout Day? Oh God, does that mean I have to play Fallout? I always play Fallout. Who said that? I always play Fallout 76 on this day because it's always free. Hold on, let me just check for a second. What the hell is this? Ugh. Franchise sale. What do you mean franchise sale? Oh, they don't even have a free day for 76? You fucking losers, dude. Losers. Absolute fucking losers. This is the only time I get to play 76 is on this day. And you don't even put it on free. You don't even make it free. What the fuck? Burger shift. Oh, I used to play this. Anywho, I was gonna play that tonight, but I deadass was gonna play Fallout 76. Bing, 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 bing. You guys hear that? Bing, 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 bing. Hmm. God damn it, I hate Instagram so much. Alright, what should I watch today? Um, yeah. So, the other memory card is fucked. I don't know why it's fucked. I don't know how to fix it. It just is. Bridge just completely shits itself every time I try to use it. So we're just gonna stick with this memory card. Um, ooh, James Galvin. Let's see what my boy has to say.
Thanks so much for rejoining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. A lot of people in our audience kind of view you as the foremost authority on everything happening in the Middle East right now. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who want to know, just first and foremost,
Let's do some skeleton
is
pictures.
the war over?
No. We have to look at it on 3 levels, I think. The first level is the hostage exchange for political prisoners, the redeployment of Israeli
I
troops,
also want to like
and
delete
the resupply
some
of
stuff. I don't know
Gaza.
if I should do that in
That
camera or
looks
if
like
I should
that's
just do
working.
this here.
Although the Israelis are making noises about the few of the dead hostages that are being returned at the present time. The second thing, so that's done. The war in Gaza is probably not over. I'm very dubious
How do I
about this
highlight
deal.
about like
It's got too many
everything
red
without doing
lines
this one
that
at a time?
Hamas is not going to commit to. It's got too many time ambiguities. It's got too many ambiguities of meaning. So, I mean, we read that as of yesterday, Hamas was attacking Israeli collaborators and was appointing governors. Now, this doesn't look like an organization that's prepared to disarm or prepared to give up its role in governance. So there's that aspect to it. And the Israelis also have some sticking points that they don't particularly appreciate. They will probably put up a fuss about redeploying in the second redeployment. And then finally is the Arab-Israeli conflict over, and there's no way in hell it's over. The only way this conflict is going to end is going to be a two-state solution, period.
Yeah. So
Thank you for
talked
saying
about the
that. Jesus
execution of Israeli
Christ.
collaborators. I saw that video
Some
from the
fucking
Gaza
idiots just
Strip
don't
of
get
6
it.
people lined up on their knees being kicked in the streets and then shot at point-blank range. What happened there? Who were those people and why were they executed by Hamas?
Well, the Israelis were trying to set up some sort of militia that would be pro-Israel within Gaza and anti-Hamas. They've done this sort of thing before. In the run-up to the Lebanon war, they did this in the West Bank. The problem then is like the problem now is that the PLO kept killing the people that were collaborating with the Israelis, which is why the Israelis went into Lebanon in 1982, was to get rid of the PLO problem once and for all. Basically, what Hamas is attempting to do is the same thing that the PLO did, which is to get rid of the collaborators with Israel. And it's not just collaborators with Israel. These are clans,
I'd rather
these are
do this in
warlords
camera. This
who
is
can
actually annoying as fuck.
fundamentally give Hamas a hard time. And they want to get rid of them as quickly as possible before there's a real entrenchment of these people.
It goes back to one of the things that you predicted last interview that we did, which is that part of the Israeli strategy was that, hoping
This doesn't
that
need to
Gaza
be
would
here,
devolve
though.
into warlordism, where you had clans and different factional pockets
doesn't
vying for
delete that from
control of
that,
stuff
does it?
like
Does it?
aid, weapons, drugs, etc. Would you
I
say
think I
that
have that on
warlordism
my...
ensued in a full capacity in the past, let's say, 5 months?
Not in a full capacity, no, because Hamas is still in control. And warlordism tends to occur where there isn't some sort of central power. So we see warlordism, for example, in Libya. We see warlordism in Yemen. It's probably still there in Syria as well, where there isn't effective central control. Now in Gaza, there was effective central control, even though it was under attack by the Israelis. So, and this is one of the reasons why the Israeli strategy was bound
Oh,
to
wait,
fail
I forgot to
of
do this
wiping
on my
out Hamas,
Twitch.
was Hamas was totally integrated into society in Gaza. So there was no way that the Israelis were going to eradicate Hamas. And after all this time, after 2 years of bombing, of invasion, and so on and so forth, Hamas is still there.
You mentioned disarmament. So the peace deal, as they called it, won't be officially complete until Hamas surrenders all weapons.
Right. And Hamas has pretty much let it be known that they will surrender some of their weapons, but they refuse to surrender other weapons because they need them for self-defense or self-offense in this case.
Theoretically, if they did give all of their guns to Israeli forces and all their weapons and stuff, what would be the plan after that?
Well, the Trump plan calls for the disarmament and then that anybody who wants to stay and pledge that they're not going to be a belligerent can stay and not be a belligerent. And anybody who wants to leave will be allowed to leave. That's a deal that probably is not going to work itself out.
What do you mean?
It's probably not going to work. Hamas loyalists are Hamas loyalists, and Hamas is not going to force those loyalists to give up their weapons. And it's very dubious that they would. Now, here's the interesting part of it, which is that Donald Trump said that security is necessary for the Hamas to keep their weapons to have security in the Gaza Strip. So Trump is actually saying that it's necessary that this disarmament not occur. So it's a very, very ambiguous sort of situation. One of the things about Trump is the lack of consistency. Netanyahu was counting
it really is. He's doing something different every fucking day, bro.
Joe Biden, there would be no pressure from
keeping
Trump.
them on their toes, switch up all the time, constantly switch up.
All of a sudden he got duped by Trump. And there are probably a couple of reasons why Trump turned on Netanyahu. I mean, first of all, he is just inconsistent. He does on Tuesday what he said he wouldn't do on Monday. There is the Nobel Prize that's dangling in front of him that he really
this is an old interview
for.
because
Today,
he did not get that.
He called Putin and had a conversation with him, so now he's going to solve the Ukraine problem. And then finally, there was the Israeli bombing of Qatar. And you don't bomb a site in which your putative ally is going to build a golf course. The Qataris and the
I forgot about that.
Are involved in some very dubious dealings. And then there's the aspect of the $400 million plane that Qatar gifted to Donald Trump as well. So apparently when that happened, Trump really read the riot act to Netanyahu.
So do you think that Trump's diplomacy did play a significant deal in achieving this peace deal?
It depends what you mean by achieving the peace deal. First of all, it's not a peace deal, it's a ceasefire deal that and I'm not being facetious here, it's a very, very big difference. It's stage one of the overall peace deal that has been, implemented at the present time. But to move on to stage two is going to be very, very difficult, if not impossible.
Mm-hmm. And what is stage two?
Stage two is going to be the insertion of an international security force. It's going to be the creation of a technocratic Palestinian government underneath this board of peace that Trump is going to head. It's going to be the final redeployment of Israeli forces. It's going to be the disarmament of Hamas, et cetera, and eventually the takeover of the Gaza Strip by a reformed Palestinian Authority. Now, when it's going to reform, who's going to call it reformed, sufficiently reformed, is up for dispute. And that's one of the problems with this. Ambiguities in these treaties work in two directions. Ambiguities can be good because people will read into them what they want to read into and sign off on it, and then maybe there'll be room for compromise later. But also ambiguities mean that people are reading in two different meanings into these things. And so therefore there's bound to be a lot of noses out of joint on both sides, and particularly in this case.
So will the International Security Force be composed of U.S. troops?
No, the United States will not commit troops to this question. I mean, there are troops now, about 200 troops in Israel. They're not going to go into Gaza at all, though. It's going to be made up of other forces. They haven't really determined who it's supposed to be yet. The Indonesians have made some noises that they would be willing to do it if certain stipulations were met. So we
y'all
don't really
bringing
know what
people that are not even a part of this into this.
Aren't the Indonesians Muslim, though?
Yes, this is the largest Muslim country in the world, as a matter of fact.
So would that be seen as kind of a roundabout betrayal of the Palestinians?
Well, yeah, I mean, it probably would be. Problem is that anybody closer, among the Arabs, is not going to want to, be put into a position of having to shoot at Palestinians, whether it's Hamas Palestinians or anti-Hamas Palestinians or just civilians on the street. So you have to find somebody who's willing to do that, and it's really a hopeless situation, because nobody's really going to want to do that. So it's very probable that the entirety of the plan is going to collapse before that gets done.
Yeah, probably.
coming about?
Well, I see that the Israelis are going to accuse Hamas, either rightly or wrongly, of abdicating the plan. Hamas is not
Might as well
going to
embrace
disarm,
the
for
fucking
example.
ink on
Hamas is
here.
not going to stop governing if they can help it. The Israelis don't want the second redeployment. They want hostages that are dead to come back to Israel. So, there's all sorts of things that they could say. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. It probably won't be the hostages, because everybody knew that the hostages who have passed
Hello with my
it's going to be
adjustments.
difficult to locate them.
There we
They're
go.
going to be under rubble. They're going to be in bombed out tunnels and that sort of thing. So everybody knew that. And the Turks have volunteered to implant experts who can do this sort of thing. The Turks are very good at this. Turks have had earthquakes, for example. It's in an earthquake zone. And so what they've been able to do is to basically train people and have a very, very good crew that could go in and look into the tunnels, look in under rubble and that sort of thing.
So if Trump's
Damn.
plan were to be executed as he plans, what would that mean for the future of
They're
Palestinian
good at
statehood?
finding people under
The
rubble.
plan
That's their
itself
specialty.
makes a nod towards
That's actually really
statehood,
sad.
but it was very, very careful just to make a nod towards Palestinian aspirations, as they call it in the plan. There is no commitment to a state. There is no idea that there's going to be a state. Benjamin Netanyahu has said on multiple occasions he's opposed the state for 20 years, and he's not about to change his mind on that.
זה לא יהיה. לא תקום מדינה פלסטינית ממערב לירדן.
So the plan will not fall on the basis of a Palestinian state or there not being a Palestinian state. It'll fall probably before then anyway.
So if there was an intermediate, or I guess pacified, Palestinian Authority in the Gaza Strip, it's not Hamas, they wouldn't have autonomy in the same way that they aspire to have, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
You could say Hamas has had autonomy, but basically the water table is controlled by the Israelis, the electricity is controlled by the Israelis, going in and out is controlled by the Israelis. What can go into the territory, what can come out of the territory is controlled by the Israelis. So it's fundamentally, is this really sort of autonomous, or is this sort of like a false autonomy?
Yeah, and who would be in charge of appointing the leaders of the new Gaza?
Well, at this point, a group is actually looking at diaspora Palestinians. Palestinians, for example, in North America, because they're not associated with either the PLO or with Hamas. That's the idea that's been floated. Why Palestinians would volunteer going from the West back into Palestine to do a fool's errand, I have no idea.
Hey, what's up, guys?
True.
Quick reminder, this entire episode from start to finish is available in an audio-only
Burp.
podcast.
Whatever cutout Trump
Thank
put
you, Andrew.
between him and the administration in Palestine. In
But it
Gaza.
sounds to me like mostly the Americans and the Israelis would have control over who gets to be in charge of the Gaza Strip.
I don't know about the Israelis. I assume the Israelis would have an ability to do that. After all, there was some talk about who was going to make up the list of the prisoners that were going to be released. Marwan Barghouti, for example, was rumored to be on a list that the Hamas wanted to get back. He's somebody who's serving 5 life terms, and the Israelis said no. They put the kibosh on that. So whether the Israelis will have the ability to put the kibosh on who is going to be the Palestinians in this technocratic government hasn't been arranged yet.
Some people who watch Channel 5 may not know that there's two distinct Palestinian territories over there. There's the Gaza Strip, which was controlled by Hamas, and then there's the West Bank, which is controlled by the Palestinian Authority, which is kind of a new adaptation of the PLO. From what I understand, rhetorically, whenever you hear the Israelis talk about Palestinians, they generally refer to Hamas as like this radical fringe group of terrorists. They treat the PA a bit more charitably in their rhetoric. Where does the PA fall in this whole situation? Are they going to have say in what happens to the Gaza Strip if Trump's plan is executed?
Well, the
Didn't
PA
even
and
know the
Hamas don't
PA
get
was
along
a
very
thing,
well
'cause
either.
people always talk about
There was a
Hamas.
civil war. The PLO controls the executive branch of the PA, and Hamas controlled the legislative branch as of 2007. But there was a brief
2007.
fight between the two in Gaza. The Hamas won the fight. Fatah, the largest group within the PA, was expelled from Gaza. And so what we have now is two representatives. I mean, starting in the 1970s, most of the world began to recognize the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, as the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. Well, now you got two sole legitimate representatives of the Palestinian people. You have Hamas in Gaza and you have the PA in the West Bank. Now, the PA is involved in, or theoretically is involved in negotiations with the Israelis, although there really is no negotiations or hasn't been since 2015. The PA has decided to do an end run around the Israelis after the Israelis decided to do an end run around the PA. The Israelis fundamentally at a certain point said, okay, look, we're going to build a fence, we're going to take Jerusalem, we're going to take our marbles and go home. I don't care what you do behind the fence. If you want to have a democratic state, you can have a democratic state. If you want to have an Islamic republic, you can have an Islamic republic. We just don't care. Well, they were made to care in 2006 when there was a brief war between the Palestinians and the Israelis. So then the Israelis, began to rethink they're not caring anymore. The Palestinians at that point, though, beginning in about 2006, 7, or that period, began to rethink its
Bro said
strategy
6,
in terms of
7, and
negotiation with Israel. And began to
why did you do
thinking
that?
about
That
an
is
end
so
run.
corny,
For example,
bro.
all these recognitions of the state of Palestine
Stop.
that you've seen over the last couple of weeks with France and various other countries recognizing it. That's an end run around the Oslo process, the negotiated process. The idea being that the Palestinians have pretty much given up on Oslo after the Israelis gave up on Oslo years before.
But whenever those countries like France, et cetera, recognize a Palestinian state, they are recognizing the PA, right?
They are recognizing a state, they are not recognizing a government.
But it seems like generally when people talk about diplomatic relations with Palestinians, they generally are talking about the PA.
Yeah. Remember that in Oslo, the PLO and Israel traded recognition. So the Israelis recognized that there was a Palestinian nation and that the Palestine Liberation Organization was the representative of that nation and got to speak in that nation's name. PLO recognized the state of Israel, and what that did, in effect, was take 78% of what had been the Palestine mandate.
Yeah, what's
off
up,
the
dude?
table. So what we're
Maple
negotiating
Leaf.
about now is less than 30% of Palestine, about less than 20% of Palestine, actually, or actually 22% of Palestine. My math is not that good.
Yeah.
So Israel can only get bigger, and Palestine can only get smaller. And this is what we're seeing in the skirmishing that's taking place on the West Bank right now, where settlers are expanding the settlements on the West Bank against the wishes of the Palestinian population. And very recently, there was a authorization to build settlements in an area called E1, which is to the east of Jerusalem, which means that you have Jerusalem jutting out into the West Bank. You have the settlements that'll get built, which will basically divide the West Bank, divide it into a north and south region. So this is something that the Israelis have been dreaming about doing, building in this area, and this is something that the Palestinians have been dreading.
So the settler violence has been something that I've seen a lot of documentaries about. They appear to be like roving gangs of like
What?
tan teenagers
Huh?
Yeah,
with like wild hair who just like start harassing. What's up with those guys?
what they want to do is they want to annex the West Bank.
Yeah.
And they want to create a situation on the ground whereby the annexation will take place de facto or de jure. It doesn't really matter to them. So what they want to do is drive out Palestinians and make life extraordinarily difficult for Palestinians. So what they do is they have, burned down Palestinian villages. They've looted Palestinians. They chopped down olive groves, that sort of thing. And the
Jesus
army
Christ.
just stands by and does nothing while this is taking place.
So there's no explicit endorsement of settler violence and expansion by the Israeli government, but there is like a tacit acceptance of it.
Well, there are elements of the government that give it a wink and a nod. For example, the extreme right in Netanyahu's cabinet don't have any objections to the settler violence. But the mainstream right wing fundamentally pays lip service to the rule of law.
So the fringe would be like Ben Gvir and Otzma Yehudit and these Jewish supremacist organizations.
Yeah. I mean, these are pure racists.
Yeah.
So, and basically they want all Palestinians out. They were having, a great dream of Gaza being abandoned by the Palestinians, or forcing the Gazans out. This is what I meant by Trump's being totally inconstant. Trump's plan would have been for Palestinians to move out of Gaza, and he would have redeveloped it. Now, this is something that the extreme right in Netanyahu's cabinet was just welcoming. Now he's walked away from that, and he's also promised the Arab states that the United States will not support Israeli annexation of the West Bank.
If you turn
He
on the
flipped
news
on
right
your
now, some
asses.
outlets are
He
calling the
flipped
Gaza peace plan
again.
a historic breakthrough. Others are saying, though, it's just a brief intermission before the next round of airstrikes and funerals. It all depends which network that you are tuned into.
This is the
The
thing
problem with
about
the
you
way
don't
the
know
media
his
has
next
covered
move,
this
bro. He
conflict in general is
constantly
that
changes
every
his
side is
mind.
selling a story. Massive corporations spinning competing narratives, headlines designed to inflame emotion instead of inform. In language so loaded, it decides your opinion for you before you even get the chance to think. So naturally, before we put
The West Bank is not intact anymore. And the question that
video
experts
glitched.
are asking is whether or not there's enough of a West Bank to actually have a state at the present time, or whether it's being splintered into these cantons that are separated by settlements, that are being separated by bypass roads, that people with Palestinian license plates are not allowed to go on, and whether or not you can actually have a state like that that is, sort of ribboned together.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned about October 7th and the justification for, I guess, Israeli expansion is that they don't deserve a state because of what they did.
Yeah, that's the narrative. You know how these narratives work is you go in, you throw something out, and what you try to do is try to get your story to stick. And that is a narrative that, basically stuck. The logical thing would have been, of course, I saw what happened on October 7th, and so therefore Palestinians have to have a state in order so that this violence never occurs again. That would have been the logical thing, and that's what I think would be the only resolution possible.
Yeah.
But instead, the other narrative is the narrative that's taken hold, that they don't deserve a state. When do you deserve a state? I mean, what is this thing about deserving a state? Most states are born in violence anyway. So the idea of deserving a state is a ridiculous argument.
I guess in terms of the West Bank, from an Israeli perspective, what did the West Bank do to deserve the expansion of settlements? Did they, is there a rhetorical argument for the expansion into the West Bank?
Yeah, I mean, basically, this is where the ancient Jewish kingdoms were. I mean, they weren't on the coast. They were in the hills.
Yeah.
This is where Jerusalem is. This is where David and Solomon's kingdom was. So if they're going to justify their state by saying, okay, we were the ancient inhabitants here, this is our state, then, the West Bank is an integral part of that. There's also the idea that God made a covenant with the Jewish people, so the religious Zionists demand the state include this territory as well, because we
Which
can't
is
give
the
up anything
stupidest
God's
reason.
commandment.
Out of all
It's
those
very
dumbass
interesting
reasons
that
you come
Hamas
up
has
with,
the
that
exact
is the
same
worst
idea,
reason.
which is that Palestine is an Islamic waqf, an Islamic endowment from God, and so we have no right to give that up. So we have to maintain our connection to the land in that way.
How much do you think the expansion of settlements into the West Bank has to do with the construction of the Third Temple in the place of where Al-Aqsa Mosque is now?
I'm not sure that that's very important. There's an extreme right wing. We have our Q people in the United States. They have their crazies with the Temple Mount. That's something that's there. I mean, some American support is for that. I mean, somebody tried to burn down the Al-Aqsa Mosque several decades ago. An Australian tried to do that in order to bring about the Second Coming. So
Yeah, because I was reading, some stuff from the Torah, and they think that when all the Jews are in Israel, the Messiah will return.
or that's one man's opinion.
Well, that's what it says. That's what it says. You get all it's not that many Jews in the world. So if they're all there,
one of the
they'll
arguments
just pop out of the sky.
one of the arguments that the Orthodox have had, or some of the Orthodox have had against Israel, has been that this is trying to force God's hand, because God gets to determine when there's going to be an incoming of Jews into Palestine, and what we can't do is we can't force God's hand, because that's sort of apostasy. That's crazy.
Those are the Nuri Kardas, right?
Yeah.
You've seen those guys at the Palestine protests in Times Square and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One thing I was wondering too about the settler stuff is settler violence specifically is, does the Palestinian Authority ever try to deploy military forces to go against them or stop them from burning down villages and stuff like that?
The areas in which the territory of the West Bank is split between those parts of the West Bank that the Palestinians have security forces, and those parts of
picture's
Palestine
not that
where they
bad.
don't have security forces. The parts of Palestine where they do have security forces, where they're
Very
in charge
strange,
of security
though.
alone, are the highly populated areas. So to answer your question, no. Basically, there is no Palestinian security forces in these areas.
Has the Palestinian Authority been willing to open diplomatic relations with Hamas since this first stage of the peace deal took effect?
Well, I always say that, Hamas and the Palestinian Authority is like a couple that's about to get a divorce. Half the time they want reconciliation, and half the time they want to kill each other. It's that sort of thing that, there's been negotiations in the past that have fallen apart. There's hardliners on both sides. There are people who think that they can't reconcile. This is why Marwan Barghouti is so important, though. He's somebody who could actually bring the two factions together. He's popular enough with the Palestinian population so that nobody could stand in his way if he were to do that. People are comparing him to Nelson Mandela. Not in the sense of ideology or anything along those lines, but as somebody who fundamentally you have to negotiate with. In order to be able to resolve the problem, you have to get him out of prison. You have to basically recognize, him as a spokesman for the other side, and he's willing to play that role.
Who is he?
He's been involved in politics since he was 15 years old.
Is he a Gazan or is he from the West Bank?
He's from the West Bank,
Gotcha.
you know.
And he has a pretty large following there?
He has a large following in both places, in Gaza as well, which is why Hamas wanted to get him out as well. They would have been very popular in spite of the fact that he's a member of Fatah, which is part of the PA.
Is there other political parties within Gaza that are nearly as popular as Hamas?
We don't know the popularity of Hamas. I mean, how do you do a public opinion poll in a territory that's, it's like doing a public opinion poll about Putin in Moscow.
Yeah.
But there's another question as well, which is the popularity
Like
of
you
any of
can't.
these factions tends to
You
come
don't
and
even-
go, whether they're winning or succeeding or not winning or succeeding. So the public opinion is extraordinarily volatile. Shortly after Donald Trump won the presidency by getting a majority of the vote, he's down to below a majority. So
Well, I guess the better question is, during the last election where Hamas was voted into power, were there any other contenders that came close to getting nearly as many votes?
there was actually, I mean, first of all, when Hamas was voted into power, about 1 or 2% of Palestinians said that they wanted Islamic law as the law of the land. In other words, Hamas didn't broadcast its Islamist agenda. On the other hand, Fatah had a failed strategy for winning these things. It didn't regulate who was going to run in various districts. So sometimes Fatah ran 2 candidates in the same district, and Hamas actually won a majority.
Hamas coming to power in the first place, I read something, I think we might have talked about it too, that there was a great deal of funding that was coming through Qatar to Hamas in its infancy that was sanctioned by the Israelis.
There's probably stuff coming in from Israel too. We don't really know. The Israelis wanted Hamas to succeed. They saw it as a counterweight to the PLO, which they thought was their real enemy. They thought that if people were involved with personal piety, they wouldn't be involved in politics. Boy, were they wrong. So Israel either
Boy, were they
sat on
wrong.
their hands while Hamas was emerging, or actually actively abetting the emergence of Hamas. We don't know that stuff.
What do you think about Sinwar?
I think it's a bloody criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what sense?
Well, he was the one who organized. We're talking about Yahya, right?
Yeah, big time.
Okay. As opposed to his brother who
Yeah.
took over when Yahya was killed. He was the one who developed a strategy for October 7th. And there's been documents that have been released that people attest to are fairly legitimate. Documents that indicate he knew they were going to kill civilians. This wasn't a military operation. This was to kill civilians as well and take hostages. So he was a criminal. And if you think that criminals like that, murderers like that deserve to die, he certainly deserved to die.
There's an Israeli narrative that I've heard a lot, especially, going to different protests and counter-protests, that people like Sinwar were kind of deliberately attempting to get the Israelis to take violent military action in order to create a humanitarian crisis and get more people to have sympathy for the Palestinian cause.
I think that was down on the list of what Sinwar wanted. I think what Sinwar wanted was, to put the Palestine issue on the front burner of international politics once again, which he did. You can't pick up a newspaper these days without reading about the ceasefire or about some atrocity that's being committed or something along those lines. If you remember back to before October 7th, the big news coming into the Arab world was the attempt to expand the Abraham Accords, the accords between the normalizations between Israel and various Arab states, to expand that to Saudi Arabia. And so how are we going to do that, whether it's going to work, and that sort of stuff as well. Nobody was thinking about the Palestinians. The Abraham Accords pretty much ignores the Palestinians. All of a sudden, the only thing that we're thinking about is the Palestinians. They've worked. I mean, October 7th worked.
But evidently it was a bad thing for a lot of the civilian population, especially those who have died.
Absolutely.
So do you give credence to the idea that the people of Palestine or the people of Gaza have been, I guess, held hostage by the political agenda of groups like Hamas?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They weren't consulted on this. I mean, obviously, in the very beginning, they thought that this was a blow that the Israelis had suffered, and they were happy about that. Many of them were happy about that. I assume there were parts of the population that saw this for what it was, which was impending disaster for Palestinians on the one hand, and also a bloodthirsty rampage that the Palestinians should have no part of.
So is there, obviously we don't have public opinions, but do you think, public opinion polls, but do you give credence to the idea that Hamas is supremely unpopular amongst those who have been victims of Israeli bombardment over the course of the past 2.5 years?
I don't know. And I'm not being coy here. I just really, it's impossible to say whether Hamas is incredibly unpopular as after the ceasefire, as unpopular as it was before the ceasefire.
I wish I got
a
good picture of
also very
this.
volatile.
I guess I'm just imagining, is there a world in which, let's say, the opposite thing happens? There's no international peace force that takes control of the Gaza Strip, and Hamas gets control of the Gaza Strip. Is there even a possibility of diplomatic relations between a new Hamas post-peace deal and Israel as it currently stands?
No, No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It won't work that way.
So what are we supposed to do?
I think Israel will probably either have to reinvade, which I think it's reluctant to do, but they would probably end up doing that, or they would go back to the old strategy, what's called mowing the grass, which is that every couple of years something will happen on the border. Maybe there'll be a crossing, maybe there'll be some sort of attack, maybe something like that, an attempt to capture Israelis, kidnap Israelis, and the Israelis will try to degrade the Hamas, its weapons capability, its capability for communications and control, and then Hamas will build up again, and the Israelis will do that again. Now that's obviously was a failed tactic, which brought about October 7th, but frankly, I really, besides reinvading, I can't see any other option that the Israelis have.
So do you think that granting statehood to Hamas, or to the Gaza Strip with Hamas in control would result in a second October 7th?
That's impossible to foresee, but that's also not in the cards.
Yeah.
Hamas is not going to be granted statehood. Period. The Palestinians as a nation are not going to be granted statehood in the foreseeable future either.
I wonder if the mass unpopularity of Israel right now and the Israeli government's actions will really hinder their ability to complete the Greater Israel Project.
I don't know. At a certain point, Netanyahu gave a speech in which he said we have to be like Sparta. We have to be autarkic. We have to produce our own weapons. We have to stand by ourselves. He took it back, but that's obviously in people's thoughts that Israel can stand alone against the rest of the world in spite of the fact that now even European powers and Canada have supported a Palestinian statehood.
Do you think part of that has to do with the way that, I guess, groups like AIPAC have infiltrated lobbying in America and kind of compromised politicians here?
I think that more politicians are moving away from AIPAC at the present time. So I'm not quite sure that that's a good ship to get on. It's had a lot of power, for sure, in the past. But people who are watching this, people of that age, most of the people who watch your audience tends to skew younger, I assume.
I think so.
Yeah, so I mean, those are the people who are going to be the ones who are going to decide the future, and they're the ones who are moving more and more towards the Palestinian side.
I also think the majority of people, at least Americans between 25 and 32, think that the reason that so many politicians blindly support Israel to the end of the earth is because they've been compromised through some kind of Mossad blackmail operation.
That I can't say. I don't know. There's all sorts of rumors about
It could be.
Epstein, for example. I'm not a big fan of rumors like that, of conspiracy theories like that. I don't know whether or not they got the dirt on people or not.
I'm just giving you the temperature. Okay. Like if you were to go to Venice Beach right now and ask anybody smoking a joint on a skateboard, like, what was happening at Epstein Island? They'd be like, Israel was honey trapping people. Am I wrong? No. That's what I can't think of anyone who doesn't think that.
Okay.
Do you think that
He
whole
said, okay.
narrative is overblown in general?
Yeah, I do. And I think there are other reasons why the United States stood forthrightly behind Israel. I mean, basically, it's why do people scratch phantom limbs? It's because they're used to it. And the United States has been used to being supportive of Israel and is used to having the shared military technology, shared military intelligence, and that sort of stuff as well. In the Cold War, Israel was a strategic part of America's strategy for the Middle East. It's habit. Joe Biden was a Zionist because, in the days that Joe Biden was entering into politics, Israel was a David, not the Goliath that it is now.
So you almost feel like their military actions have positioned them narrative-wise on the opposite side of what they used to be?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And that began actually with the first uprising against the Israeli occupation in 1987, when the sort of poster children, really poster children of the uprising were kids throwing rocks at tanks. And the next prime minister of Israel, who was leading the military in the West Bank at that time, said that they should break the arms of rock throwers. He's talking about people assaulting children, So at that point, the roles of David and Goliath switch for sure.
But I mean, if you go back to 1948 and the Nakba and such and all that stuff, do you think that they've always kind of been Goliath, just kind of pretending to be David? Or do you think they actually were David?
I think they were a lot stronger than they made out to be. You have to remember 1948 happened for a variety of reasons. The Nakba, the disaster of 1948, happened for a number of reasons, one of which was that the Jewish community in Palestine was better organized. And particularly, the Jewish community in Palestine was better organized than either the Palestinian community in Palestine or than this grand coalition of Arab armies that were fighting pretty much each other as opposed to fighting the Israelis They weren't shooting at each other, but fundamentally they didn't trust each other, and politically they were fighting with each other. So there was no real coherent coalition. On top of that, Palestinian society had been decimated in the 1930s, so really didn't stand much of a chance. There was a great revolt of 1936 to 39 that the British put down dramatically. I mean,
I kinda
building
wanna
concentration
grab
camps,
this.
house demolitions, imprisonments, and that thing. The great revolt ended up with class warfare in Palestine, whereas lower class thugs would, try to raise funds for Palestinian independence or against the fight against Israel by
So
blackmailing
strange.
or extorting richer people and that sort of thing. And then, of course, the agricultural economy of the 1930s was devastated as well in Palestine. So there was a lot of reasons for the Jewish victory in 1948.
As far as you're concerned, with everything that you know, what is the best case scenario moving forward?
There is no best case scenario moving forward. I mean,
Damn.
basically, there's all bad choices. And
What's the least bad choice?
the least bad choice is that the Israeli withdrawal will hold, and that Hamas has been will be so concentrating on what's going on within Gaza that it will not consider moving beyond the Gazan border into Israel again for at least a while.
And so you say
Yeah.
at least a while.
At
Yeah,
least
I
a
don't know
while.
if we're going to get Hamas is going to be either, we're not going to
At
get Hamas.
least
that's
a
going to
little
demilitarized,
while.
But I don't know if we're ever going to get Hamas that's going to just sit back and lick its wounds. I can't conceive of that. Now, as I said, part of the reasons why Hamas did what it did was to put the Palestine issue on the front burner again. So the way of resolving the whole problem is with a Palestinian state. A two-state solution is the only way to resolve this problem, and I don't see that in the near future or in the midterm future as well.
And you don't think either Hamas or the PA is capable of successfully governing a Palestinian state?
No.
So there'd have to be a new political party altogether that had enough sway with both groups.
Or what they're talking about, which is a reformed Palestinian Authority. But the PA is very unpopular. The head of the PA is in his upper 80s. The PA itself is incredibly corrupt, incredibly inefficient. They've been supporting neoliberal economic policies in the territories, which are not a good fit for these territories. So they're not particularly popular either. Hamas, who knows what the popularity of Hamas is? It's impossible to determine.
So they're kind of in, I guess, sort of, in a far-flung way, a two-party gridlock.
Pretty much so, yeah. And you're right about the emergence of a new PA would be something. And this is why somebody like Barghouti would be important, because he is charismatic and he does have a following. And again, like any charismatic politician, obviously will be able to sway people towards his viewpoint, which would undoubtedly be, if we want a Palestinian state, we have to do it the right way.
Well, I mean, if there's enough youth, people our age and younger, who recognize the dysfunction of this system, it's perhaps possible there could be a brave new world here.
Everybody overlooked the Palestinian contribution to the Arab uprisings of 2010, 2011. But immediately after the Arab uprisings, the Palestinians themselves not only rose up against the Israeli occupation, but against their own leadership. And there's been bread riots. There's been, basically a group that's called Gaza Youth Breaks Out, a hip-hop group. And they started off one of their pamphlets by saying, fuck Hamas, fuck Israel. What we want is somebody who's going to be out there for us.
And not just trying to advance the military strategy of Hamas, basically. Do you think that if there was a wide-scale refugee program that Trump said he wanted to spearhead for Gazans, do you think a lot of them would voluntarily leave?
I doubt it. Gazans have a historical memory of 1948. They would, don't want to do that. 70% of the Gazan population are refugees. So it's not something that they would, try to or want to do again. Many of them, many of the families, Gazan families, hold the keys to their original houses that they had in Israel, what is now Israel. So there's a very, very strong bond to the land. I mean, you don't expand your nationalist base without it having ramifications in terms of the way people feel.
Do you think that the trauma of war and genocide has strengthened their commitment to staying in the land?
Well, there's an old saying in nationalist studies, which is that tragedies are better than victories, because tragedies, you basically inspire people to set them right. So you have like the Battle of Kosovo, for example, for Serbian nationalism, the battle that they lost to the Ottomans, for example. That's sort of like Kosovo was sacred territory to the Serbs. So the Nakba was very, very important in instilling a sense of nationness among Palestinians.
All right, let me see if I have any more questions, but I think we pretty much covered everything, right? Especially if we want to get this information to people as fast as possible. We want to get it
When you,
probably tomorrow or the next day.
wow.
Well, because one thing we've noticed is every time we do an interview, by the time it comes out, so many things change.
Yeah, right.
It'd be like 2 weeks after, and I'm like, oh, that question doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Remember our interview on Iran?
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Can you think of anything that I didn't ask that
No, you were
would be
thorough.
helpful? What do you guys think? I think we're good.
I think it's great.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it once again. I hope everything's
Okay.
well.
See you in 2 weeks when something else happens.
9 days after coming into force, the US brokered Gaza truce had looked under threat after a wave of Israeli airstrikes across southern Gaza today. The enclave's civil defense agency says at least 33 people were killed in today's action, which Israel said was in response to an attack by Hamas on its forces in Rafah. Both
It's
sides
not gonna
have blamed
end,
each
bro.
other for the escalation.
Really? Come on. It's not gonna end. It's not gonna end. Ugh. Oh, sequel to this. Alright. I gotta watch this. This story was crazy. What is happening? Is this Chinese, right? Yeah, China.
September 11th, 2025, a very famous Chinese actor by the name of Yu Menglong,
This
with
poor
over
kid.
25 million followers. He had performed in a series of hit dramas, and his career was only getting bigger. He suspiciously falls from the 5th floor of a high-rise building in Beijing, a residential building that he does not live in. There are so many questions. First of all, can you really die from falling from the 5th floor? And did he fall? Was
Probably,
he pushed?
yeah.
Was it a self-exit?
You
Why
land
are
on your fucking
authorities
head.
investigating for approximately 12
If you
hours
land
before
on your
concluding
feet,
that there
maybe
was
not.
no foul play. He was allegedly at this very suspicious dinner party with industry professionals, including his manager, other well-known celebrities, industry investors. These are millionaire billionaires who fund these projects. The police don't investigate these people when he falls to his death from this 5th floor window. The window itself has been a huge point of contention. It's just a window that you open and it has a mesh screen. That window is pretty tall, falling at 35 inches tall. That's about waist height. So how does he burst through this mesh
Look at her
net
face. Like, I didn't
and then
notice her
fall
teeth were
out
that
the
fucked up
window?
right there.
The police say it was a drunken accident.
It's really funny.
They say he got way too wasted, and maybe he stumbled, and maybe he fell through the net.
What do you
and
mean,
then fell
maybe?
out the building. That's the only conclusion that we can come to. People obviously have questions. Lots of questions, and the police don't want to answer anything. In fact, if you ask any of these questions on Chinese social media, your account is likely going to get suspended. You're likely
Bruh.
going to get banned. So now, the biggest question people have are, why is the Chinese government censoring a celebrity's death? If the Chinese government has nothing to do with the celebrity's passing, why don't they just have the police investigate further? Why don't they investigate everyone at the dinner party? Why don't they look for CCTV camera at the residential complex? Who's connected to the government where they would have this type of power to censor everything? It's like overnight, Yu Menglong goes from being a beloved celebrity, an actor, to being an enemy of the state. Who's doing that? Well, people have a list.
Who's doing
There's a list
this?
of 17 people going around, and this 17-person list, people are saying, we have all these reasons of why we think they were present at the dinner party. And the
Dun,
first
dun,
one to go
dun.
down is a red-haired film director by the name
Red?
of Cheng Ching-sung.
Ugh.
He's famously known for having like bright magenta looking. It's a very bad dye job, but
I'm dead.
he has bright red hair, and I don't think that he has any particular works that are very stand out. That's why people think it's suspicious. How does he stay in business when he doesn't have any spectacular films? It doesn't make any sense. And he's very, very wealthy, and he's very well connected. People say he was at that dinner party, and we know he was at that dinner party. Director Cheng comes out and he says, I feel very burdened by this accusation that I was at this so-called dinner party. First of all, guys, I don't know what you're talking about, and I have the evidence
I don't even
to show
know what you're
that
talking
I was
about.
not there at that 5th floor unit in this Beijing high-rise. I was at dinner with a different friend of mine, Tian Hairong. She is the widow of this billionaire Chinese businessman, and she's a good friend of mine. And so, of course, we
The
were at dinner.
widow
He
of a
posts these
Chinese
screenshots from WeChat. his text
Multi-millionaire
messages with Ting
businessman?
Hairong
That's
to show,
sussy.
Look,
They might
I
have killed him
wasn't there.
too.
I was at a different dinner party. The text messages read, "This is Director Chang asking, are you there yet?" Ting replies with a voice message. Okay, so WeChat is kind of like iMessage, where if you respond with a voice message, you can convert it to text. And so he's converted to text so he can take a screenshot and show the people, show the internet, this is our conversation. I'm not hiding anything from you. I was not at the dinner party where Yu Menglong suspiciously died. Please stop connecting me there. Ting Hairong responds, "Why are you there so early?" "I'm on the way. Yeah, you can order a cup of coffee first at the lobby. I made a reservation inside the restaurant, inside of the Bulgari Hotel, but just get some coffee in the lobby first. I'm gonna be there soon." This is from September 10th around 6:30 p.m.
The night prior.
Yes, the night prior. We still don't know what time Yu Menglong allegedly fell to his death. We just know that he was found at around 6 in the morning by a neighbor who was walking the dog. We don't really know anything else. He responds, "Well, I got here 40 minutes ago." "Why'd you get there so early? Didn't we say that we were going to meet at 6:30? This timing is just... Can you just sit and wait and take a break? There's a little bit of traffic here. I was working this afternoon." "Yeah, no, it's okay." Ting sends a heart emoji, a hug emoji, and she responds, "I'm coming from the airport, so the journey is quite long." And he responds, "No rush." That's it. That's like the contents of this screenshot. And netizens think, what does this even mean? What does this do? How is this an alibi? Text messages with your
text
friend
messages,
should not
like-
constitute as an alibi to a crime.
Doesn't mean shit.
People think it's weird that he's even posting this. And also, just because you meet someone at dinner at 6:30 p.m. doesn't mean you don't go anywhere else after. It doesn't prove that you even went to dinner with her. Because of how suspicious the messages are and the fact that he's releasing this as an alibi, people start going over and asking Ting Hairong, the widower of the billionaire, "Hey, can you talk about this? Because, what do you mean you were at the Bulgari Hotel with him? Are you sure he's not lying? Are these real text messages?" She comes out and she says, "I never wanted to explain myself to the internet. I'm from an older generation.
Oh
I
my
don't really
God.
check the internet. I was told by family and friends that I'm getting roped up into this madness. I don't even know
I don't
these people.
even know what
you
the
Menglong.
internet is.
Let me tell you what happened. September 10th, I had dinner
What
with a
is
good friend
that?
of mine, Director
Huh?
Chang. Well, I thought was a good friend of mine. Okay, I don't know why he's dragging me into this mess now by posting these screenshots. He could have just said that he had dinner with a friend, but instead, now my name is out there. My name is connected to this. I'm getting cyberbullied. My
Because
family,
people think she's also one of the 17 people now.
yes, because they're like, she's so rich. She's so well connected. She's always got her little fingers in the entertainment industry. She must have been at the dinner party too. Who's to say that they even went to the Bulgari Hotel? Maybe they just went to the dinner party and they forged these messages. And she's saying, "I don't know what any of you guys are talking about. This
I don't
is
know what you guys are
impacting my family.
talking
This
about.
cyberbullying
Oh my
is
God.
impacting my reality,
Cyberbullying.
my family." So I'm also going to post screenshots of the text messages that I had with Director Chang on September 10th. And I will point out something very strange. First of all, I think it's strange that he's pulling me into this madness. And second of all, I think it's very strange that he chose to delete this one text message that he sent me that night. Right before he told me, "No rush," at the very end of the thread that he showed you guys on the internet,
Expose
he had
him.
said, "I'm dealing with something. No rush." So
Oh.
I'm dealing with something, no rush. He deleted, "I'm dealing with something." I'm just saying, why lie to the internet? Why drag me into this? That's all I'm saying. I'm just going to post my text messages out there. So netizens are like, okay, we've got the exact same text thread, minus or plus one message.
Yeah, why
from
he
two
delete
different
that?
people,
Why he
from
delete
Director
that?
Chang
What were
and
you
now his
dealing
buddy,
with, huh?
Ting Hairong. So they're comparing these two sets of screenshots. Both of them are taken on an iPhone, and both of them are very suspicious. This is like shooting your own foot. Now people have more ammo to study the different things, pieces of evidence out there. The first thing that they notice is that the audio messages, when they're both converted to text, they have 16 characters per line, including spaces and punctuation. Typically on WeChat, it's 15 characters per line. People start sending their friends audio messages, converting to text, taking screenshots, showing,
Oh
hey,
my
I
God.
have an iPhone, I probably have the exact same model, and it's 15 characters per line. But other
The
people are commenting, "Well, sometimes when
investigation.
you change the text size on your phone, you could maybe do 16. Sometimes it's like the screen size, if you have like the Pro, not the Pro Max, or it could change. But people are like, it's still weird. Let's look for something else. And they find something else. You know how WeChat or any other messaging app, it likes to refresh
Oh my
you
god,
on
the
time and date.
investigation is
It'll
insane.
say,
People
even
will
if you're in the midst of a
investigate
conversation, it'll be like, well, now it's 10 minutes
to
later,
the
so I'm going to
better
give you
than the
time in the middle
FBI,
of the
better
screen.
than
Like, it's
the
not like you
best
have to
fucking
slide to the
detective.
right to see all these
Random
text
ass people on the
messages.
internet.
It's just right there in the middle of the screen. Well, they see that, and they see all these different timestamps, and they try to line them up. And the colons of all the timestamps, normally on WeChat, are very consistent, very uniform. They're not matching anymore.
Bruh.
Some people suspect that it's Photoshop.
Yes.
The time is
Mm,
moved.
And so people are like, now we have these two sets of text messages, and both of you guys are suspicious. Because, first of all, both of you guys have been suspicious from the get go. Director Chang, he does not have a spectacular background, he does not have a spectacular reputation in the industry. People call him a creep, like a Chester the Molester. As a film director, he does this thing where he just sexually harasses people. I will
He
say
just
that
does
Director
this
Chang is
thing?
openly
What do you
gay,
mean he
and
just
nobody
does
really
this
cares
thing
about
where he
that
sexually
at all.
harasses
I mean, I'm
people?
sure like any other country, there
What?
are some homophobic people, but truly, nobody really cared. The only thing that people were upset about is that time and time again, there would be these rumors, there would be these conversations, scandals that come out of Director Chang sexually harassing male models, male influencers, and male budding actors who want to get into the industry. And the way he does it is very
no.
stereotypically predatory of the industry. He would say, "You want a job? Let's go eat."
Hey, you want a
Sometimes
job?
He would just find a male influencer that he finds attractive online and sexually harass them nonstop, sending DMs like, "I'm hungry. I want to eat.
I want to eat
You
your
know
dick.
what I want.
Oh,
Do you
Lord.
like me? Do you want to meet up?" Saying very suspicious things, which I know why you're thinking that, okay? It lines up because September 10th, that very night that this dinner party allegedly happens, he posts on Twitter one word.
He did post something, one word, bro. This guy did it. He did it. He wanted to fuck him. The other guy didn't want to fuck. He blackmailed him. They lured him out to this fucking dinner party and they fucking tortured him and killed him. Case closed.
Yummy. No context.
Yummy.
Nothing.
Oh, he got
That's what
it.
he's getting roped into.
He got
this.
that
Well,
ass.
and a lot of other reasons.
He
but
got
that's
it, and
one
then
of
he
the big
killed it.
reasons. He's always had this very strong standing reputation of harassing young men. There was at one point, he's 34 years old,
What the
dating a
fuck?
19-year-old, and still,
How do you-
that's already
how is
creepy.
this even just
People kept
happening
saying
in
that he's
China?
an old cow that likes to eat fresh grass. Because
Ugh.
it's very unsettling. But even while he's dating that 19-year-old, he would go online and harass other 18, 19-year-old male models.
What
People
the
already-
fuck?
And the fact that he posts this alibi, it's just rubbing people the wrong way. You're not proving anything by sharing text messages with a friend, and they're already suspicious.
Oh my
And Team
god, bro.
Tyrone,
He
people are
did
coming
this
for her
shit.
too.
There's no doubt in
First
my
of all,
mind
you
he
have a
didn't do this
billionaire
shit.
husband, got arrested for money laundering, and then in prison right before he gets out at the very young age of like he's in his 40s, he just drops dead in prison, and then you inherit all of his money, and then the
Oh,
rest of your
you
life
hearing this
just
lore
chase
right here,
after
bro?
seemingly
Oh, she
young,
killed her husband,
allegedly
100%.
young actors in the industry
Hey, what's up,
to
dude?
date. That's the vibe. That's always been a small reputation
Snowflake.
of hers that's been following her around. And so people don't like these people already, and these text messages are not helping. What are you hiding?
I like that
These two
snowflake.
come out and they say, "You know what? I got you. I'm going to give you more information. Here are receipts. Here is a paper receipt.
Let me see the receipts.
Of the Bulgari Hotel in which us two, we ate in for a table of two September
It's going
10th
pretty good, I
at around
guess.
6:47-ish, because, you know, the timing was, I got there
Trying to
late.
get this picture
This is- I was
just
going from the
right
airport, you
here.
get it. So
Ooh,
they
no,
post
that's
a
dodge. I don't
picture
wanna
of this
dodge.
paper receipt sitting on a
I'm
marble
trying to
counter.
burn.
And then to go along with that, they post
Burn,
a screenshot
baby,
of
burn.
their bank transaction that coincides with the date and with the exact amount for the Bulgari restaurant. So they're like, "See, the money is coming from my bank, and I'm going to give you a screenshot of that, okay?" A few things.
That don't
You
mean
know when
shit.
you keep talking because you want to absolve yourself of any guilt, but the more
Yes.
these people are talking, the more guilty they seem.
Yes.
That's exactly what happens. At first, netizens are like, "Okay, that's a lot of receipts." But you look at the receipts. It's interesting. This receipt itself has been studied to hell and back. The itemized list shows 3 dishes, 2 sodas, and a portion of Italian cheese. It's a table for 2 at table
Italian
15 in the
cheese.
Bulgari Hotel restaurant. The grand total, including service charges and taxes, comes out to be $215.
Oh, shit.
Obviously, there are comments on how ridiculous it is to spend $215 on 2 people. But another thing netizens notice
On
is
cheese
the
and
picture of
soda.
this receipt, they're posting this like early October.
What does that mean?
It's been a month since September 10th. It's been like weeks.
Uh-huh.
And you're
Mm.
telling me the receipt looks pristine? It doesn't look wrinkled. It looks like it was just printed yesterday. It looks fresh off the roll, fresh off the printer, which is very strange.
Fake-
because
fake
these
receipt.
2 people, they're very wealthy. They don't seem like the type to save their receipts for
Yeah,
bookkeeping.
why would you
They don't
save your
seem
receipt
the
if
type
you-
that's like,
if you
oh, that was
rich?
a business dinner. I gotta put it in my bookkeeping. They seem like the type that's like, if it's under $10,000, I don't even need a receipt.
Yeah.
But suddenly you have the most pristine collection of
Yeah,
receipts
suddenly you have this receipt.
that is not crumpled, that you don't just shove into your pocket or your purse. It doesn't make any sense. But the more damning piece of evidence is
Best
the receipt
views
shows
on
the
my.
time of
What's up with
7:10
that
p.m.
W?
That's when the receipt
Huh.
is. That's when the. Okay, so it
Interesting.
says time, 7:10 p.m. At the very least, some people are interpreting it differently. It doesn't make sense that they would be done eating at 7:10 p.m. because their text messages, they were supposed to meet at 6:30,
Yeah.
but she's running so late.
Yeah.
And then also, it's a hotel. It's a 5-star hotel. Any hotel, regardless of the stars, but like the more stars, the more wait time at restaurants typically.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
sit down, you get wine,
No
you get
way.
drinks. Like it
No
takes.
freaking way.
You're sitting there for 40 minutes chit chatting before your food comes out at the
Yes.
Bulgari Hotel. They're speed eating like this is a Chipotle. It doesn't make any sense.
Or this is when the tab is open, maybe?
So that's the next thing. People are like, okay, this is when the tab was open.
Yeah.
They start the order. They take the order at 7:10 p.m. Okay, put it into the system.
Yeah.
And now it's probably going to take like another 30 minutes for the food to come out. 7:36. So about 26 minutes later.
Yeah.
They're definitely not done eating. Because again, if the food is put into the system at 7:10, let's say the fastest it comes out, I mean, 15 minutes later, what is that? That's 7:25. And then you're done at 7:36? I doubt it. There's no
yeah.
way. An Italian cheese plate, you're not scarfing cheese
An
down like that.
Italian
You're
cheese
sitting there
plate? Come
talking.
on.
So why is it at the very end of their text messages, you don't see the text message itself, but like I said, in the WeChat likes to float these little time markers when more text messages are sent. You just see this in the middle of the screen at the very bottom of the screenshot. 7:36 p.m.
There's a message.
A message. So it's them two sitting inside of this high-end restaurant in the Bulgari Hotel, texting each other at the same table.
Oh, got him.
Why would they do that?
Got him.
Why
Got
would
'em.
they do that? And why would they not
Bitch.
show us the message then?
Yeah.
And then another thing. You know how we got those screenshots of the WeChat? It's very clear. Both of them, these screenshots come from an iPhone. Why is it that when they post their
Green.
bank statement, it's an Android all of a sudden?
Ooh.
The time, the battery marker, it's all Android
Glock.
interface. So what does that mean? And what does the Bulgari Hotel
What
have
does
anything to
that
do with
mean?
This is probably
I already
the
know they're
more
in my mind. They're already
complicated
guilty, so I'm
web
just
of
like,
storylines that we've covered in a while, where nothing can
Expose
be taken as a fact,
them.
nothing can be confirmed, everything is alleged, but everything starts unraveling in a way that doesn't even make sense. Videos start going viral of what appears to be Yu Menglong being tortured inside of a Bulgari hotel, the same Bulgari hotel that these two allegedly had dinner at. Then these two, a lot of their history starts coming
it's
up,
crazy
and there are
that
allegations
I would
they're
have never heard
connected
of this
to
story
not
if
just Yu
she
Menglong's
didn't make this
passing,
video.
but to other
Just
famous
because I'm
celebrities
so
passing.
not
Yu Menglong's
like I don't know what's
agency, in
going on in
fact,
China
there
and
are now
Japan and
conversations
Korea. Like
of
I
at
don't
least 10
like the
different
drama.
celebrities passing away under very suspicious circumstances from his exact same talent agency. And
Oh.
there's so many things that are very similar to his case. The police are closing the cases immediately. There's lots of rumors circulating. The police want to shut down all conversations. They don't
The
want
police.
to investigate. They don't want to disprove any rumors. They just wait until all of it quiets down and everyone forgets about it. This is part 2 of the Yu Menglong case.
Oh, here it is. Oh fuck! This is 2 hours and 30 minutes long, bruh. I'm gonna have to watch this on 2x speed. Or maybe not 2x, maybe 1.5. 1.5?
We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the New York Immigration Coalition.
Okay, she
They're an
talks
umbrella
pretty
policy and
fast,
advocacy
actually.
organization that represent over 200 immigrant and refugee rights groups throughout New York. This episode's partnership has also made it
1.25.
possible to support our growing team, and we'd also like to thank you guys.
She's
for your
pretty good
continued
at talk.
support.
She talks pretty
As always, full
fast.
show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. We will also be linking a signature petition on the website demanding justice for Yu Minglong. A quick disclaimer: there are lots of sensitivities in this episode. Brief mentions of self-exit, corruption, drugging, physical assault, essay, and a lot of perhaps more political conversations that have been taking place. This is just a recap of all the different discourse online. This is not me taking a political stance against one nation or another, especially when I have yet to visit a country. I don't even think that I am in a position to take any judgments, but today's case does take place in China. We had our professional translators working almost around the clock
Think about
to
this
help
picture.
gather the information for this case. In this case, I mean, if you haven't watched part 1 already, go watch that first, because there's no way that I can even give you a full recap.
Oh, I
on it.
did. I
But
did.
It, is
It-
the
I-
most
it was
confusing
great.
case in the sense of there is nothing that is confirmed. There is
Fucking
nothing that we know to
cold.
be definitively true. I mean, categorically, everything is alleged. Everything is a rumor. Even rumors are getting debunked. There will be times where my researchers are like, yes, this is what happened. And then they'll call me in the middle of the night and be like, that's not what happened. They just
Girl.
disproved it. Okay, let me tell you. But then after people are disproving it, other people don't believe in the disproving of the rumor. So there's like 20 different camps of people for every allegation, for every suspicious leak that's been out there. So the information in this episode is largely unverified, limited, constantly getting deleted, re-uploaded. I imagine this episode, I actually don't know if it will age well or not, for the sole reason that with cases like this, we're very hesitant to talk about it, because the last thing we want to do is spread an unconfirmed rumor or to indirectly
Yeah.
accidentally cast light onto someone that may have no involvement.
Yeah.
That's a huge fear of ours. But with this one, I just don't know if there will ever be a time where the authorities will come out and give us any concrete information.
Probably not.
And I think that what has happened with other celebrities that were part of Yu Minglong's agency, people have just
Yo, this
stopped the
dude is a
conversation
demon.
because it's been years.
Shit.
We are beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
And so this is what we know, and this is what the online discourse is. But again, do your own research, come to your own opinion. The only things that I can tell you with full confidence in this episode is that Yu Minglong, a famous beloved Chinese actor, is dead. The facts around his death are suspicious in my opinion. The government, the police are behaving even more suspiciously, and those are the only concrete facts that we really have. I cannot
Jesus
confirm with
Christ.
certainty just about anything else. Nobody has been detained, convicted. Nobody has really spoken out to give any fact-based information on why they're not related to this case or why they are. It's just everything is very hazy, and legally speaking, his death has been ruled an accident. So with that being said, we're going to go over all of the people that were allegedly involved and all the conspiracies that range from believable to
Fucked
kind
up,
of like
dude.
a movie.
It's
They're really
crazy.
intense. There are times
In the
where
year
I would get so sucked into a
2025.
conspiracy while researching that I would have to take a moment to be like, wait, is this too crazy? Like, am I going down
In
a
our
rabbit hole
Lord and
believing in
Savior
something
Jesus
too
Christ's
crazy? Because
name.
the sense
In
is
the year
kind of there,
2025.
but
What
I've
the
never seen
hell
stuff
is
like this
going
happen in real
on?
life, so is this just
I didn't know there was a
unhinged conspiracy
denoise
theories?
thing.
To that I just say, there are times where you have a
Nah,
conspiracy
I don't
theory
wanna
and
do
the
that right
reality
now.
is not that dark. The conspiracy theory is like a
Super
combination of the top
resolution.
10
What the
movies of
fuck?
that
I
year,
never
meshed into
even
one
fucked with any of
giant
that shit.
aluminum tinfoil
Maybe I
hat
should.
theory, and the reality is a little bit more simple. And there are times where the reality is a lot darker than the conspiracy theories themselves. And everything is a lot worse in reality than we ever thought. So I don't know what the case is with this situation, but I'm going to go through all of it with you today. So with that disclaimer, let's get started. How do you know when a celebrity actually needs help? Even if they are saying things, how would you know if it's real? That has been the case with Yu Minglong's last live streams. People have been pouring through his social media history. They've been going through his pictures, any of his tweets to see, is there something we're missing? And they have put together a series of clips. So in part 1, we went over, it looked like he had bruises on his eyes. It looked like he had these injuries that he was hiding with makeup when he was
No.
out and about, and fans were taking pictures and videos of him. But in his own live streams, fans have found some very strange things. We don't know if these have been taken out of context, so take it with a grain of salt. But in one live stream, Yu Minglong is wearing what appears to be a blue suit. He looks like he's working, and it just looks like he's reading comments from his fans during the live stream. He kind of has his hand covering his mouth as he's reading the comments, and some people say it actually doesn't look like he's reading the comments. His eyes aren't necessarily moving left to right. They're not moving up and down. They're just kind of staring at the comments, almost as if he's looking at the comments, but his attention is maybe elsewhere in the room. Like he's trying to listen in the room. He's trying to get a vibe of if anybody in the physical room with him is staring at him. And then eventually he says, puts his hand down. He says, while he's covering his mouth. Puts his hand down and immediately mouths something before talking. And it sounds like a very breathy, low, save me. You can barely hear him. You can see his lips moving. You can hear some breathiness. It kind of sounds like save me, but you don't really hear it. It sounds
Bro,
weird. And then
stop.
immediately afterwards, he starts voicing out his words
Fuck,
like this.
it's
So it's like,
scary.
"Save me," and then voicing out his words like this.
也不是 PK， 也不是有两个对话的那个。
Just talking about normal things. Netizens have ripped his live stream apart, saying, is this a moment where he's reaching out for help because it doesn't make any sense? Why would he say, save me like that? Others are saying, no, it's because the internet was lagging. So maybe his mouth and his voice weren't matching up, and so his mouth looked like it was saying save me, but it wasn't. It was just not catching up to the sound. Other people are saying that doesn't make sense because I distinctively hear a save me. Then there are conversations that breathy save me was edited in later by someone who wants this to go viral. So there is so much discourse around this live stream, but it doesn't help that there are just a lot of weird things that he did.
There's
his
too
passing.
much.
In the month of August, there are social media posts after social media posts where it seems like Yu Menglong is unwell. In another live stream, he voices out the words, help me. A lot louder this time. His fans hear it, but they do nothing. Everyone assumed that he was talking about his network being bad. Right before this, he's talking about how his network connection is not the best and the live stream isn't really working well. And then he says, help me. And so people are wondering, maybe he tried to play it off with whoever is in the room with him, because the whole insinuation is that his agency, his manager, are in control of him. There are people who believe that he has been held captive for a really long time, that he's been doing work events, he's been live streaming while being held captive so that nobody is suspicious. They think that he's saying help me, as in like, maybe everyone in the room will think that I'm talking about the network, but I'm telling you, help me. Then there is another moment that people have dissected. So I know in America, we have the VV, violence symbol for help. So if you are in a car and a police officer drives up, or if you're in an airport and you're talking to a TSA gate agent, you have your open palm, all 5 fingers up like a high five. You tuck in your thumb, and then you close your fist around your thumb. He has done that motion multiple times in his live streams.
Bro,
So he'll have
okay.
5
No,
out,
people
and then
don't
he'll
do
kind of
that.
Tuck his thumb in, covering his mouth, and then he'll
People don't do
tuck it
that
all the way in
normally.
and do a fist and cover his mouth. He does it very
Yeah.
naturally. So some people are wondering, is this just a natural motion he does?
And then in Chinese, I think some people think it's 540, which in Chinese is 540, sounds very similar to 我死了, like I'm dead. So it's like another signal that people are picking up.
There's also another poem that started going around, and I couldn't verify if this was exactly from him because I couldn't find any of the original sourcing, neither could the rest of the team. But it seems like he was writing a poem about a rainy day and how he's learning some magic tricks. It's the most random poem, even if I were to give you the translation for it because of the way that the sentence structure in English and Chinese are so vastly different, it wouldn't make sense. But it felt very random in the sense of, today's a rainy day, don't forget your umbrella. I learned a new magic trick today. Like, it's very out of nowhere. Like, the poem itself is not artistic, it doesn't make any sense, but people were saying if you take the first character of every single line of this poem, it says, today they want me to die. And that has been circulating. So these are all the reasons that people think that he has been held captive for months, which begs the question, who's keeping him captive? Why are they keeping him captive?
Holy
September 11th,
fuck.
2025, my sister-in-law actually opens up her little Redbook app. Do you guys remember when TikTok was going to get banned in the US? It was a very bizarre side plot in the US timeline. Everybody starts posting dramatic goodbyes and then immediately downloading another app called Little Redbook. This is that app. In China, it's probably the more new, more
Little
foreigner-friendly
I
application.
thought it was called
Like,
Red
Douyin
Note.
is Chinese TikTok, the original TikTok. But Xianhoshu is kind of like Pinterest, Instagram. It's for younger people. Lots of foreigners love it. And she opens up the app, and the first
I need to
message
get
that she
back on
gets
there.
is like, hello, are you aware of the content guidelines on this application? You are not to repost like negative celebrity trivial matters. Like, please refer to the terms and conditions as a user.
That's so
Click here to accept
lame,
and
bro. I
close.
can't
It
talk
was the
shit
most
about
bizarre,
celebrities.
out of place notification
Come
that she got,
on.
to the point where she screenshotted it and sent it to her friends because she thought it was very strange.
And it wasn't because of like she was posting anything and
No.
getting like a strike or another alert. She doesn't post. This is like a mass notification to every single user.
Every single one.
And she is just confused.
And
Yeah.
everyone is like, oh.
I
this
haven't
has to do
opened
with
that
Yu
app
Menglong.
since
Because September
I
11th,
first got
2025,
it.
The same day that Yu Menglong
I think I still
is
have it
found
on my
deceased at the
phone,
end,
though.
At the bottom of the building. The Cyberspace Administration
Yeah, I
of
still
China
have
demands
it.
a meeting with the executives of Little Red Book. The purpose of the discussion is your trending list. The trending list, what the users and your algorithms decide to push.
How is
more out
Speed-
into
oh,
the
Speed.
ether.
Yeah,
They're
Speed's
saying you
actually really
frequently have
popular in
celebrity
China now.
personal dynamics, interpersonal relationships between high-profile people.
Bro,
It's just trivial.
it's all in
It's
Chinese. I
trivial,
don't.
nonsensical matters that really impact
What is that?
the online
I
ecology.
don't even know what it
and
says.
It's the ecosystem of the younger generations online. This is not good. They should focus
I
on
have
things
shitty
that really
connection, so
matter.
it's not gonna work. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Nice.
This is actually a thing. The Cyberspace Administration of China, they were the ones to ban feminine men. That was like a thing. They didn't really want a lot of what you would call pretty boy celebrities, which is like a bigger thing in
That's
East
my
Asia,
favorite
Korea as
type of
well, because they felt
man.
like it was instilling weak values in the men in China. So overnight, all these idols that fit
Oh,
that
you're
category were scared to
lame,
get
bro.
banned. So they're like posting workout videos in the gym. They're saying like, we
Posting
are
workout
trying to
videos.
cultivate the perfect ecosystem to influence the entire nation in a positive way. And all of this gossip about celebrity drama is not going to be good. And this gossip that they're talking about is the
Bro,
death
you can't
of Yu Menglong.
stop that.
Later,
You can't
anyone online
stop.
questioning the cause of Yu Menglong's death on Little Red Note were
Oh
automatically
my god, it's a
getting
government
deleted,
conspiracy.
banned, and
What did they
suspended.
do to this
So people have
kid?
gone to Threads, they've gone to Twitter, they've gone to all these different foreign social media platforms to come up with what they believe happened. And it actually starts way, way before September 10th or September 11th. They go all the way back into August. They start analyzing all of Yu Menglong's live streams like I was talking about, but they also start going through all of his public performances, his public appearances, and it's around the beginning of August that you start to see a massive decline in what appears to be his mental state and physical state. That is what people are saying online. I don't personally know any of these people, so what presents in a video could not be what's happening in reality, but it does look suspicious. So this is where the series of the bruising of the face is showing up, and then also he just looks incredibly skinny and frail. Prior to this, when he is at work events or even when he's traveling, he's never really the most outgoing, extroverted person, but he's very attentive to his fans.
Actually, you think
But
it is
during the
weird
month
ass
of August,
picture.
any fan meetings he has where people
I
are
have
running
other
into him and
ones that I
recording him,
kind of like.
he seems really disassociating.
Eh,
He seems like he's trying to have a
Whatever.
conversation,
I'm
but
not gonna
he's
work
not
on it that
really
much
there.
because I don't
That's
know
how
if I
everyone's
like it.
describing
If
it.
if
He's
I
still
like
posting on
the
Weibo, but
composition.
nothing in particular. Perhaps just a
When are
series
you
of travel photos.
when you're
and most
taking
of it
a
is not even from him.
photo
Most of it includes
class
shots
and
of
they talk about
plants and like serene
composition and you're just
backgrounds,
like, shut
but we
the
don't even
fuck
know
up.
he's traveling. This could
I
all be him
hated
in
those
Beijing.
critique
So it
days.
seems
Oh
like since
my god, those
August,
were the
he's been
worst
held
days.
captive until September. That is the
4
theory that's been going
hours of
around. His
critiquing other
managers, his
people's
agency,
shitty
all of these
fucking
higher up people have
pictures.
been holding him hostage. They have someone watching his every move. They're watching
And then
him
they
live
want
stream.
you,
They're
and
watching
I
everything
would
he
just
posts.
sit
They have
there. I
access
wouldn't
to
say
his phone,
shit
and they're
because
trying
like
to
I
get something
don't
out of him.
care. I
What are they
don't.
trying
You
to get out of
can't
him?
make me care about
Everyone
these
points
fucking
to 9
people
years ago. A
and their
famous
shitty
singer
art.
that I know
I
by the name
wonder
of
how many
Kimi.
people
Zhao Renliang.
Yes, so he
that were
passed
in
away
class
9
actually
years
still
ago
do
from the same
photography.
agency. And people think that there's a
Probably
connection
less
because
than
even when
half.
Kimi passed, there were lots of conversations around. It seems like there were conspiracies that he had pissed off higher ups, that he had rejected somebody that wanted to do something sexual with him, and they were trying to blackball him, and eventually it led to his passing. There were a lot of different theories running around, and the police, the authorities, they were very hush-hush about it. Everything pretty much gets closed down. It's very similar to what's happening with Yu Menglong. A lot of people believe that they have the same manager. So people start going online, and they start typing into different search bars, do they have the same manager?
What is that
Do
dot?
Kimi and Yu Menglong have
It's
the same
gone.
manager? And these search bars would say, yes, they do. They
It
have
just
the exact same
disappeared.
manager.
Going AI.
Yeah, it's like the AI generated search, which like I know how we feel about AI, but like, it's the AI generated search. People are looking at it and they go, okay, so they have the same manager. I mean, there's no proof, right? There's no no one's going into the company records, but that's what Douyin is saying. The very next day, after all of this blows up, people are reposting it on Threads, on Twitter. You go back to Douyin and you ask, do they have the same manager? Suddenly it's no.
Oh,
the answer has
Screenshot
been
it.
yeah.
Side by side. It's so weird.
I would say like most of these search
I'm
platforms,
gonna
when
do
they
this
use the
one.
AI feature, it's not very accurate. Like accuracy is not the name of the game with these top searches. Like even like the Google AI overview, it's like most people say it's not accurate, right? But with this, to change it the next day is weird because
It's
they just leave out
crazy.
the inaccurate information. They don't go ahead and change it. So why would they change it? Who would call to have it changed? People start digging into the manager. And we mentioned in part 1 of this entire case,
Fuck the manager, dude.
Background. There are rumors that he is part of
You
an
really
organized
can't trust
crime syndicate.
motherfuckers. You
He's
really
just hired
can't.
muscles. People say that he is more of a, I would say hitman is maybe taking it too far, but
Hitman.
like the cleanup of organized crime. You got a dirty job on your hands. This is the guy that you call. And they are very closely
Shit. That's
intertwined with a
Michael.
lot of powerful executives and investors.
That's basically
he
Mike
was hired into the company as, yes,
from
a
Breaking
manager,
Bad.
but really his formal occupation would just be to watch over these subjects, to make sure that they're not stepping out of line, to make sure that they're not saying anything, to make sure everything goes as normal. I will say this manager is also a very strange guy. If you dig into his old posts, there are, he likes to post, all of these people like to post weird things. They love trying to be edgy, artsy, but it's just uncomfortable. It's just very scary. He likes to post a series of photos where it shows a man saran wrapped to a table. It looks like an episode of like a serial killer show. So
An
you got
actual person?
Well, that's what it looks like in the first 3 photos.
Okay.
It looks like a
What the
person
fuck?
saran wrapped to an operation table, like a steel table. And then someone is grabbing his head in one photo, so it looks like he's about to get a head massage. And then all of a sudden a knife appears and they cut this man's head into 6 different sections. It looks like a cake. It's like a "is it cake" video. And then those 4
Oh.
pieces are like the pieces of his
Okay.
head are arranged on a plate. It's clearly
Cool.
not a real person. It's clearly either some sort of sculpture or AI generated art
Is it
or
cake?
drawing or something. But his whole caption with that is
I hate that
something
shit.
that is whole can be cut
Bro.
into pieces, but those pieces
Why?
can never be whole again. And so people think this manager is
That is
just
so
weird.
corny.
We don't really know anything about this man. We don't know how he got into the role of being Yu Minglong's
That
manager.
is like
We don't know
edgelord
much about
shit.
him.
Like,
All we know is
shut
that he likes
up,
to post
bro.
these types of things. So people believe that the person that lured Yu Minglong to the party, the dinner party that night, is the manager. They think that Yu Minglong is not one to go out with any of these people. He's not one to go on any of these drinking meetings with investors. He's someone that likes to very much follow the rules.
Do I
He
kind of
likes
want to
stay
like?
home. He likes to cook with his 2 dogs. He has a corgi and a French bulldog.
Oh,
He's a very big
he's so
homebody that
innocent,
just works hard. He's
baby.
not someone that likes to really
Look at
go
his
out to
French
dinner
bulldog.
and get drunk with other celebrities. Not that anything's
They
particularly wrong
fucking.
with that, but he
Oh
would not
my
have showed
god,
up to a
I'm
dinner
so
party unless his
mad.
manager had invited him. So he gets
It's
lured to
rare
this
you see
apartment
like
by
a
his
good
manager,
dude
and there's a
in the
bunch of
world. You know what I'm
investors, bunch of
saying?
big
And they
business partners that are
fucked him
there,
and killed
they all
him
want to sleep with Yu Minglong. Over the
and
past
beat
10
the shit
years,
out
at
of him.
least 9
They
other artists have died under very
leave
strange
him alone.
circumstances from this same agency,
Leave
and
him
that's why they
alone.
believe the manager is heavily involved. With the 9
with
others,
his
sometimes the
dogs.
cause
Like,
of
come
death is listed
on.
as self-exit. Sometimes it's an accident, but always netizens have questions about them. And I don't think it's a situation where netizens just cannot grasp the idea of one of their beloved celebrities having depression. There's no answers to any of these. It just doesn't make any sense. And the whole agency itself is very suspicious. They say the format of the agency, and we kind of touched upon it on episode 1, is that it's a government-run state agency. You can't sue them. This is like suing the government. And if you think suing the United States of America is hard, probably suing China is not even a viable option for anybody. It just doesn't make sense. So this government agency will go around and mass sign a bunch of talent. After the end of a talent reality show, they'll go and sign 20 new people. And then they'll pick 1 or 2. They're going to make them really famous. The other ones, they're just going to hold them hostage, freeze their careers, refrigerate their careers. That's how they refer to it. Allegedly, yes. Theories. And then they can't get out. Out of those maybe 18 celebrities,
That's so
left,
scary.
maybe half of them come from really well-off families, because it's hard to get into the celebrity world, into the entertainment business without some sort of funding and backing. So these celebrities' families will say, you know what, I just want out of this contract, so I'm going to pay whatever crazy fee you want me to pay, and I need to leave. I need to go sign with someone who's actually going to invest resources into my career. So they sign the contract and they leave. And then you have a handful of people left. These are people that come from backgrounds where they can't afford a breakup fee. Those termination fees are like millions of dollars. With Yu Minglong, it was 30 million.
Jesus.
They can't afford that. Like, they would be in debt for the rest of their lives and the
Literally
next life.
trapped.
It wouldn't make sense.
These
So they can't
poor
do anything.
people.
They can't sue the agency for not giving them what they were promised.
What did
can't
they
get out of the
do?
agency and find work
Like,
elsewhere. So
flee.
they're
You have
just
to
stuck.
flee the country at that point. You can't because they're on your dick 24/7. You can't even leave.
So what do they do when they're stuck? This is when
Kill
investors can
themselves.
come and decide if they like you. These people are considered free-for-all playthings. They will allegedly open up shell companies in their name to launder money. These massive investors
Oh,
and
right. I forgot
business
about the
owners will launder
money.
money through their names.
The money
Other
laundering.
times they will
That's
use
why he's
them
in so much
as
debt.
victims for their sexual fantasies, allegedly. That has been the rumor.
But it is true that there were companies open in their name that's dealing firearms
Yeah.
and military weaponry.
Yeah, so that seems pretty much
Oh my
confirmed.
God, this
Yu
is
Minglong had multiple
actually
shell companies in his
crazy.
name, and all of them were pertaining to military contract sales.
So
And
scary,
this is
bro.
not someone who would money launder. None of the money was going back into his accounts. It's going in and out, and you're talking about millions, tens of millions of dollars. And he isn't seeing any of that money. He doesn't know anything about the military, but it's getting laundered in his name. There is a very famous Chinese celebrity by the name of Yang Mi. We've talked about her briefly on our other podcast, Moral of the Story, and she's massive. She's probably one of the biggest stars in China. She worked
Really?
on Eternal Love with Yu Minglong, and she has her own agency, and it seems like they have a very sibling dynamic. I mean, they played siblings, but they also have one in real life, like sibling dynamic. She traveled to Beijing
Aw.
at least 3 separate times with the sole intention of signing Yu Minglong.
Really?
And the agency would just not let him go.
I
I think
no,
that
she
she knew that they were
was
not
trying
putting
to
enough
save
resources into
him.
him, and she wanted
Oh
to
my
help him. I don't know if she
God.
knew anything deeper. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that she knows anything
Yeah, she-
sinister.
mm,
but I
maybe
think
she
that she's
did.
like, he's not getting enough roles as he deserves. I think I could do a lot more for him. Company would not let him go, and this company is not really
Ugh.
doing anything for his career either.
Because they
And it
wanna
seems like
fuck
if this is
him.
what the company is doing,
He's
because
just-
they're a
he's
state-run
just their
agency,
pet.
they could theoretically get away with it. Remember how I said there were 9 other people in the past decade that suspiciously passed in this company? Just to give you an idea, one of them is a female artist.
Hell no. What's going on? The Chinese government,
She
like,
took off all her
hello.
clothes, got completely naked, and then jumped to her death. That this was a self-exit. A female celebrity who is
I
pretty
don't
much
think she took her
probably
clothes off.
always
I think her
objectified
clothes were
online,
taken off of
being
her, and then she tried to
vulnerable
escape, and
in
then
a very
by
vulnerable
killing herself and
situation
jumped out the window.
psychologically, is then going to take off all her clothes.
Yeah,
and
why would
then
she take off her
comment to her
clothes?
passing so that she can be photographed in the nude, so that people can objectify her more, so that people can sell these photos. Like,
Yeah,
it
that
just
doesn't make any sense. Doesn't
But
make any
anytime people
sense.
tried to ask those questions, they were getting deleted. Another signed talent is a newscaster. He died in an accident, and his mom later came out to say that the police told her that she
Insanely
needs to sign a
corrupt.
document that her son did drugs, was high, and fell off the building, or she could not see her son, and her son could not be released back into her custody. People believe that with each passing and with each suspicious circumstance, that there are a handful of people that seem to consistently show up in those moments. The first one is a man by the name of Shin Chi. Shin Chi has been an enigma in the entertainment industry for a very long time because everyone is like, I don't know how this man came up. I don't know what kind of funding he has, but he's very well connected politically. November 2018, Shin Chi
it's better
is
without that
27
there,
years old.
right?
He becomes the chairman of the China National
What do you
Electric
think?
Investment Group's new energy
Little skeleton
company.
right
The
here,
chairman.
or no
Yes,
skeleton?
27 years old.
Skelly,
This is a
skelly, no
government-run
skelly.
entity, meaning
Skelly or no
how
skelly?
would a 27-year-old be appointed that position unless he has absolutely incredibly strong, powerful people in the ranks
prodigy.
that are handing him these positions?
Or
AKA,
that.
he's a political nepo baby. If he
Yeah.
were just really smart and capable, even if he were to follow the route of getting into government, nobody would promote a 27-year-old for being outstanding.
Oh,
Politics
no.
has hierarchies, legacies, seniority, favoritism. They're not just going to give him a position for being the most capable, which I don't think he is, regardless. Which means, who the hell is Shin Chi? He goes from being the chairman of this state-run investment group to suddenly being like a film producer. He just makes movies, he invests in movies, he's like a major name in the entertainment industry. How do you even break out like that? Again, you go from that investment group chairman to the entertainment industry and you're succeeding across all fronts. And when you look into his past, nobody can find his family history. He doesn't talk much about his childhood. Who is he? Who are his parents? Because you can only get these types of positions if your parents have high up government positions. One insider from the industry spoke out and anonymously told a reporter online, like, do whatever you want with this information, but he's connected to top party leaders. He's got strong ties with the leaders of CCTV, which is the state-run TV agency, the government-run TV network, news network. And weirdly, anytime you hop on a call with this guy, he uses a number that doesn't even route back to him. It's like, you know, you see the caller ID, but it's not him. Like, you don't see Shin Chi. It's weird. Like, it's just like this other guy's name. So it seems like a fake number, and they are able to pull up that number because I guess this insider has had conversations with him. This number is linked to at least 99 companies registered. When you register a business, you have to have a phone number that goes along with it. It's this number that's mainly used. And this number is also connected to Yu Menglong's shell companies.
Really?
So everyone's saying, okay, Shin Chi seems to be, if this is true, if all of this information is not fake, not AI generated somehow, not edited with absolute perfection, and these are real tips given to real reporters, then yes, it seems like there is a connection between these shell companies, Shin Chi, whoever that man is, and Yu Menglong. But that's not the only connection. Shin Chi has been Yu Menglong's top fan for years. Top fan in China is a little bit different from maybe America. Top fan does not typically mean you love the celebrity the most. You're the number one fan. It typically means you are the fan with the most power. You can buy billboards. You've got money. You've got connections. You are a highly influential fan. You can make things happen
hell?
for your favorite celebrity.
Like a rich
because
fan?
you yourself have power. That's what they call a top fan.
Oh,
Shin Chi
okay.
has been Yu Menglong's top fan for
Interesting.
years. He actually runs Yu Menglong's fan club.
It's crazy. Wow.
And he is reported to be gay. And he seems to have some sort of crush or some sort of infatuation with Yu Menglong, has been the conspiracy online. And again, I don't think that I need to be the one to give you a disclaimer, but sexual orientation has no correlation with someone's ability to commit a crime or to be a vile person. I mean, I think if you look at most episodes on this channel, straight people commit so many heinous crimes. Like, if you're
Yes.
trying to use this as a way to be homophobic, you should try a different video.
Oh,
Nothing
no,
on
I
the
would
channel. But
never. I would
people
never,
think that
girl.
He had this infatuation with Yu Menglong and has
It's
been
the
trying
men
to
that's
get
the
Yu
problem
Menglong
in
to
general. Don't matter if they
consent
gay,
and to
straight.
do
It's always the
sexual
man.
things for him, sexual favors. And the best way to do that is to stunt his career growth. So after all of the big hit dramas that he was in, around 2020 to
This is
2022,
man-on-man
Yu Menglong is
violence
off the
right
radar.
here, and
He
I,
goes
you
into
know
the
what?
village to
I will
teach
not
children.
stand
He's
for this
basically starting-
either.
He comes back and he jokes that he has no money for food. Now we know it probably wasn't a joke, but for those 3 years, it is believed that Shin Chi and at least another very wealthy, influential person wanted to get Yu Menglong, and he was refusing. So they completely halted his career. I think it sounds like a very big conspiracy, but the thing to remember is for these people, if this were to be true,
Disgusting.
it's not much. It's just vengeful. It's like, okay, fine, you don't want to sleep with me, then you're not going to get a job.
Yeah, I mean, and also you look at his career. How could you going from doing such big drama
With Yang Mi.
with Yang Mi? Yeah, like these are crazy breakout roles, and then boom.
Yeah. Yeah. The math ain't mathing. It's really not mathing. Like fucking North Base, Columbia.
Off TV
Never
for
mind, not
years.
North Base.
Something happened. Yeah.
Or
It's not
I
like he
can't
was
afford
trying, nothing
a
was happening, and you're like, oh,
coat.
that was a flop. It wasn't. He was just gone.
I have a
He
lot
was
of
gone.
coats.
And so people think
I don't need
Shin
new
Chi is
coats.
one of those people that wanted
Best
to get something
best place to
from
buy a
him and it wasn't
coat,
working.
thrift store.
And
They
another
have
thing to add
so
to
many
this is there
coats.
have
They
been
always have a
reports
shit
that
ton of
from
coats.
beginning of August, some people even say in the month of July, there were lots of leaked blind items from the paparazzi saying that, hey, there's a very big actor that was in Eternal Love. Now, to be fair, Eternal Love has a lot of big names, but he was in Eternal Love, and we got news of a major scandal from him.
Yeah, I think they say like a celebrity from the show with 25 million
Yes.
followers, which, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How many, exactly 25 million? Who are we talking about? Yeah.
And people were saying that these executives, these higher ups, are leaking this information to the paparazzi as another way to threaten Yu Menglong and say, see, we not only have power over your career, we can also ruin your whole career. Like,
Do
we
it.
can just
I
take
would've
you
been like,
off the
ruin
screens,
it.
yes, but we can make you a very bad person online as well.
Do
And
it.
so this is just
Do
adding
it.
more and more pressure. So people believe that Shin Chi was one of the ones that really wanted to sleep with Yu Menglong, and they believe that he was there at that dinner party that night. And just to give you an idea about these dinner parties, a lot of Chinese celebrities have seemingly spoken up about this, and it's kind of the same in East Asian culture. I'm sure Korean culture as well. Not just in the entertainment industry, even just the business world. You want to get a business deal done, you got to go get drunk. You got to go to a heshik. Like, you have to go and pour alcohol
That's
for
so
these higher
annoying.
ups to get a deal signed. There's this very viral clip of Tao from EXO. He is now in China. He also recently got married, I believe. He was talking about
Slay.
this was
Oh,
years
she's so
ago. He was
pretty.
screaming, like getting very riled up in a live stream, and he said, I have my own agency. And if you tell me my employees, my talent, have to go do a business deal and they have to drink something, then get the fuck out. I don't need your money. We don't need you. We don't need your stupid deals. Like,
Good.
I'm not letting
Good.
them put their health in jeopardy.
给我公司所有员工，我立了一个规矩：你出去
Good,
谈任
good
何
for
业务、
him.
谈任何项目，只要让你喝酒，不滚都滚。我绝不让我员工去卖身体、去喝酒、去谈任何的业务。这辈子我不可能做这种事儿，我公司可以不做。
Good.
不
Good
让
for
我员
this
工做
dude
这
for
种事
saying
情，
that.
就这么简单。
And I think
Because
he was
what
saying
the
health isn't
fuck?
like because you have to get like blackout drunk, and
Yes.
that level of alcohol is not good. But people have been recirculating this clip by saying maybe health could mean other things. We don't think that's what he meant, but they're saying like we just don't know how dark it gets when people get that drunk. We don't know how many people
True.
could get taken advantage of. So it does seem like this is a very normal thing that happens, at least these drinking parties. The reason that Shin Chi is important to this, though, is a lot of people believe the money laundering is all connected to him. He had opened up the shell companies in Yu Menglong's name. He wants to sleep with Yu Menglong, and he also has this very shady LinkedIn profile, if you will. How do you go from being nobody to being the chairman of this state-run massive investment group to being this very famous producer and director and doing all of these things in the entertainment industry? Nobody knows who your parents are. So there are rumors that he is the illegitimate child of the head of state of the entire nation. Because even if he, there were previous rumors circulating that maybe he was the illegitimate son of one of the Politburo members, which are like the top 25 most powerful people in the nation. But a lot of people are saying there's no way that the head of state would not just let them go down for it. Because this looks bad, ultimately, on the head of state. It doesn't look bad on everyone. It looks, ultimately,
I'm
when
waiting
you
for
have
the
one
We Are
person at the
Beautiful
top, like
commercial to
everyone,
come
most nations
back.
have a president, it just looks bad on that person. They're the first to be blamed. So why would they go down for a random person's son in the top 25 most powerful politicians? At the end of the day, he's the most powerful. Why would he go down for him? So they think that this guy, Shin Chi, is the illegitimate son of the head of state of the entire nation. And there have been rumors circulating prior to this. And these, I will say, are rumors that a lot of people these are people who very much dislike the government system in China. These are people who are very outspoken about that. And that's their right? But they're very anti-CCP. And they have been saying for months prior to this that there have been lots of rumors, and they believe to be true, that the head of state has been embezzling money through military contracts, right? Which is, I think that's a thing that a lot of different heads of state have been accused of. But they're accusing him of doing that. And they're saying now with these military shell companies, maybe it's all connected. Maybe this is the illegitimate son who's funneling and money laundering through this celebrity. And then maybe Yu Menglong finds out and wants to put an end to it or wants to go public with this information, and now he must die. And now it's going to get covered up because it's not even just about Yu Menglong's death anymore. It's about a whole system. And just to give you an idea, if you run this phone number, netizens have been able to pull up other companies that are with the same phone number that allegedly belong to Shin Chi. And one of the companies has been operating for 5 years. They have 0 payroll employees. 0 employees. And they generate $630 million in revenue in the past 5 years.
Wow.
How?
Its logo probably reads not money laundering at that point because I mean
Yeah, what
that's
the
money
fuck?
laundering. To give you an idea,
How you
other
kn-
businesses who generate that kind
You
of
suck at
revenue,
money
around
laundering,
even 100
dude.
million a year, they will employ
There's a
on
way to
average,
do
at the
it.
very least.
That's not
400
how you
people,
do it.
But typically on the 1,000 people end. You're not going to generate that with 0 payroll employees.
Yeah.
But they're
How?
saying that
That
these
doesn't make
different
no sense.
companies, all 99 of them, are so profitable, even though nobody's running them. They're just printing money at this point. It doesn't make any sense. These are the allegations. I don't know. I don't have the paperwork in hand. I am not someone who can certify such legal paperwork. So I don't know if this paperwork has been edited and reposted online. I don't know. But that same number can also be traced back to another very well-known celebrity, Song Yiren. And she has been connected to this dinner party many a times through many a different pieces of evidence. Song Yiren is a small-time actress. She was on this reality show called Everyone Stand By, which I did a whole Mott's episode on. It's like a famous Chinese acting reality show where the premise of the show is you gather a group of acting professionals. Most of them are newcomers or they had their heyday and now maybe they're falling off a little bit. They get booked onto this show and they're doing skits, mini dramas, and they're doing improv acting, and you have this panel of judges of world-renowned actors who are going on to judge their acting ability, not just their influencer count, but like genuine their profession. And she actually made me cry.
That's crazy, right? Thinking back.
Yeah, they had this, they called it Performance City, and all of the contestants were to go into this massive fake city, and they could go through the costume department and dress up in whatever their character were to be, and the judges would walk around while they're
sounds like fun.
improving these different character storylines.
Oh, that sounds-
She chose one that was very emotionally gripping. A lot of the
That
other
sounds
characters,
like
they
fun,
were couples who
bro.
were fighting or selling peas and selling all these other like street vendors, and none of it was that particularly good. She was very smart, and she was very believable. So she dressed up in what I guess you would call back in the day like a beggar, and she had a sign up.
On her sign that she held up above her head, there's a misspelling of a word, but she did it on purpose to show that she's undereducated as this character.
And it was really well done. She never broke character. It was freezing cold in there, and she was shivering because she was that dedicated to the character. I cried.
Oh my
watching that 'cause
God.
I just felt like it was so good. That's her. She has been
Damn.
at the scene of the crime. Whether it's
Oh,
true or not,
no.
I'm just going to give you what people have found online. There have been rumors circulating
Girl.
long before she was even on that show that I didn't know about. But they said that Song Yiren's personal and professional lives were vastly different. They were just saying it's weird. They said online her career is very much girl next door, soft
Yeah.
girl image.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen anything inappropriate. Like that was always strongly associated with her. But sometimes other co-stars and other friends would talk about her, and they would let it slip that her nickname for a really long time was Xiao Taimei.
Xiao Taimei.
What does that mean specifically?
It's like the bad kids in school. She's like
bad
the
kids.
head of it. The bully in K-drama.
Oh.
Yes.
Like that's the vibe.
Regina George.
Yeah, our researchers are
Okay.
having a hard time trying to describe it too. One of them said it's like the direct translation would be like little bad girl. Others were saying no, it's like head bully.
Head bully.
Like
yes.
head bully girl.
Regina.
is the vibe. Like it's just
Yeah.
not it's actually very mean. It's not a nice, you don't get pride from being called that. But Song Yiren actually went on a live stream once and said, yeah, like that's what I used to be called, but that's when I was young. I've grown up. I don't do that anymore. I was out there drinking, but I don't do that anymore because that's what I did when I was young, which has been a huge debate online with some people saying, actually, I went to school with her because she went to school abroad in Canada.
Ooh.
And smoking, drinking, and dyeing her hair was the least crazy thing she did. She actually went around bragging to all of the people at our school that she slept with 50 different guys. She was 17 at the time. It's just what an internet user has alleged. But there has always been
Fucking-
this very subtle.
How many dudes
clashing of
at
people saying
17?
She's so different off camera. Nothing fits her online persona. Even former alleged classmates came out and said, look, I'm not going to badmouth her. I'm not going to say anything bad. But all I will say is don't believe in celebrity personas.
she was a
because they're all
menace.
fake. One of Song Yiren's biggest scandals was last year in 2024, and paparazzi caught her going to a bathhouse with 3 guys, like a sauna.
Woo.
Okay, bathhouse seems like a sauna. And I think the biggest part
Oh,
that
she
people
was having a good
thought
time.
was so scandalous was she's touching the abs of the first guy. So she'd be like talking, they're out on the street, and then she'd kind of place her hand on his chest. And then she would hold the wrist of another guy walking. And then later that night, there was another third guy, and she was spotted touching his arm. They dramatically described
Okay,
this as
girl.
feeling him up, feeling him down.
Okay,
just
what's going on?
groping,
What's going on? What's going on?
caressing. I mean, nevertheless,
At the
it was a pretty
bathhouse?
interesting, unique, scandalous situation for a female celebrity in China to be caught photographed in, especially someone who presents herself as this very innocent, soft girl next door. So a new theory has come about recently that Song Yiren
I can't
is
hate.
a
I can't
map.
really hate on her.
She befriended Yu Menglong in
I
an effort to
can't.
finally
I
seal the
can't.
deal and get Xi Jinping, the powerful executive, what he wants, which is Yu Menglong. She's going to lure her friend. So people are saying that she is the madam. She is an actress. So she rubs shoulders with all these actors and actresses. She befriends them. She has this very disarming personality. And then she's like, you know what? Come out. Come hang out with me. Come to my place. And at her place, they'll be introduced to an executive who has always had their eyes on them. And she knows this because
Jesus.
she is the middleman. And she's like, oh my gosh, you guys should meet. This is an investor, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you come to this dinner party? They're pouring drinks. There are further conspiracies and allegations that perhaps the drinks are drugged.
Sussy.
Perhaps it's full on SA. Other times people are saying she's just the middleman connecting these two parties, and hopefully it's consensual most of the time. But
Bro,
clearly,
you
if
all
that were the
don't
case
have
with Yumeng Long,
game.
That's not what's happening. But they think
You
that
need
she
to
is a
assault
man.
people
They think
because
that
you
that
can't
must be the
get
way
dick
she
or
makes money.
pussy on your
Because
own.
here's
Like,
an
come
interesting discovery that
on.
it's been made. Song Yiren, she lives in the same apartment complex as where Yumeng Long passes away. But she doesn't just live in the same apartment complex. She lives in the same building from which he allegedly falls to his death.
Huh?
And there's more about that. She claims that she moved out 9 months ago. She said, yeah, I did live there, but I moved out 9 months ago. So yeah, I did live in that building. I mean, there's pictures of her posing in that building. There's selfies she's taken. There's like this one picture where she's holding a giant acorn, and it's like building 18. And again, it could
Where'd
be
you get a
Photoshopped,
giant
but
acorn
she has
from?
said, I moved out 9 months ago. So we don't know if maybe the building number was photoshopped and maybe it was a different building, but it doesn't seem like
We are beautiful.
it seems like it was that building.
Mm-hmm.
There are other allegations that she never moved out, and there are other photos circulating of an apartment unit where in East Asia, there's a lot of times where you just hang dry your clothes. So you get one of those like drying tables, and it's up against the window of one of the apartment units, and there's this blue dress shirt and white pants that are hang drying in front of the window. Someone had snapped a photo of it for whatever reason, and they believe that those clothes belong to Yumeng Long, because he was photographed wearing similar clothes, and they think that for the past month before his death, he was being bounced around, somewhat being held captive,
Bounced
not
around.
necessarily chained up, not necessarily like I'm gonna tie you up so you can't leave, but being watched and held captive under likely
Jesus.
verbal threats. Like if you try to leave, I'm gonna ruin your career. So it's not like the door is
Bro, my
padlocked,
career's
but
already
perhaps
ruined.
he can't.
His career was
And,
already
they
ruined,
think
bro.
that Song Yiren was one of the people holding him captive. I do think that this conspiracy theory does get crazier and crazier, but one thing to note is a lot of people were confused. She's on an acting competition show. She's not a major celebrity. She's a small-time actress. How can she afford to live in an apartment building like this to even begin with? So people think, well, that's because she makes her money not from being an actress, but from being a madam, right? That's what people think. But they still are wondering, okay, let's say she's a madam. She gets money from these executives. She tries to force all these other celebrities into sleeping with executives. That still doesn't explain why she wouldn't be the fall guy. Because people are like, let's be real. If there's executives involved and she is just a madam, she'd be the fall guy. There would be some sort of narrative of she got jealous, she pushed him, or she was the only one at that dinner party left, everybody already left, and then they got drunk, maybe they were doing drugs, but she would be the fall guy. Because there's so much suspicion. Why not have a fall guy? So there comes the suspicion that her parents are very well connected. She moved to Canada when she was young. Her dad was a professor.
Yeah, you
and
already
in the
got
medical
money. If
field.
you're
I
moving to a
believe he's
different
doctor, and at
country,
one
if
point
you
he
could
was
afford to
teaching,
move
but
to a
her
different
mom was
country,
in marketing, which is very vague. But in Canada, she went on to have this huge company where the distribution to that company, and it's very vague what the company even does, but they had tens of millions of dollars in sales within like the first few years of opening up. And people say, you don't do that just by being talented. You do that by being very well connected, by being politically connected. She has had multiple talks and conversations with business leaders and government officials who run business sectors for like international trade and foreign trade and international businesses. There are rumors that she's also very close with the First Lady of China. I don't know. I've never seen a picture of them
Song
together.
Yiren is?
Song Yiren's mother is very close. This literally could just be someone tweeting random, whatever they can think of and hallucinate in their brain from across the sea. I don't know. Or it could be true, or there could be 10% truth. I don't know. But I think people are saying there's no way that she wouldn't be a fall guy unless her parents are also well connected.
Like, I know she currently is so majorly hated across the
Yes.
board all over China.
And it's not just
Oh,
because she
really?
lives, or maybe previously lived in the same apartment. There's a lot of other things. The things tying her to that night is her phone strap. She's initially placed on this list of 17 people because
Interesting.
she posted a ton of pictures outside the building, living in that same building where Yumeng Long passes away. But also there are these selfies where she's pretending
Ooh,
to
what
be
if
on
I
her phone. I don't know if she's
boosted the
promoting
green
phone, her
right
phone strap, her
here?
face. I don't know, but it's like pretending to be on a phone, and she's posing with her phone. And her phone has the world's largest blue ribbon phone strap. I don't even know
Jesus
if it could
Christ.
be called a phone strap. It's like a giant dangling blue ribbon. It's like putting a Labubu on your phone. It's that big. It's just huge.
It's a charm, right?
Yeah, it's a massive charm. And that's what it looks like. Now, eventually, a series of peephole videos start making the rounds. And I call them peephole videos because it appears that someone is inside their apartment unit filming through their peephole. When people are walking in the hallway, you just see shadows, you just see figures. It looks like a horror movie. You don't really see the people, even though they're on the other side of the door. Peephole videos go viral, and it sounds like a man crying. And you see these figures ushering this man down the hallway. And then behind them
Jesus.
is a woman on her phone, and it looks like she's filming them because her phone is propped up all the way up, and there's just no reason for her to be holding her phone like that unless she's trying to
Yep.
get a signal. So it looks like she's filming
Oh.
them, and the phone shadow on this wall has this giant lanyard
Oh,
attached to it. And people think
no.
that looks like the phone strap that Song Yiren was showing off. Otherwise, what the hell is that shadow? Now, I will say a lot of people have more or less debunked these peephole videos. They were posted by a Thai woman September 16th of 2025. So technically, the timeline makes sense in that it was posted after Yu Menglong's death, because there are a lot of other leaked videos that people found the original videos to have been posted before his passing. So it wouldn't make sense because, I mean, time just doesn't work like that. But timeline-wise, it makes sense. However, a lot of people are saying you can clearly see that this was not in China. You can clearly see that this is not in Beijing. Other people are saying this Thai woman, like, she has nothing to do with this case. If you look at her other previous videos, it has nothing to do with her. But even that has been debunked. So people are arguing, well, actually, we don't know that.
How many things are being debunked and unbunked and rebunked?
If you want to muddy the waters of a conspiracy, what would you do? Pump out other stuff. Pump out more conspiracies. Make it so crazy that nobody knows what's true and what's not true. Others are saying, well, the Thai woman posted it because
I
she
need to
might
clean
have
my
friends
room.
in China who are like, I don't know what to do with this video because I can't post it. You got to post it. It doesn't really matter if the video is true or not, because I think the circumstances around his death are suspicious enough. I think even if videos are getting debunked left and right, I don't think that should make anyone feel like his death was a drunk accident like the police claim, unless there is factual information, evidence that comes out that says he was. I think that this feels like we could go in a loop. You know, people are saying, well, obviously, maybe the government is spreading misinformation, because if they spread such crazy misinformation and then they debunk it, then it's like, oh, now all the information must be fake. Or it must all be crazy. Or sometimes people think the government could be spreading this conspiracy to get even more outlandish, because the general population is not going to believe that aliens came down from the skies to do something. So they think there's a lot of cat
It
and
was
mouse
aliens,
between even the
bro.
censoring party and the censored people, but I don't know. Science Academy Award
Sussy.
winner Patricia Arquette reporting in recent. Let's say the peephole videos are in fact completely debunked. They do not exist, or they don't exist in the context of this case. This is not Yu Menglong. This has nothing to do with this case. It's just a random video that has been connected. Let's say that's the truth. Then what connects Tong Yiren to this entire incident, other than the fact that she may or may not have lived in the same building? She may or may not have moved out 9 months ago. There's lots of celebrities that live inside of this apartment complex. What places her at
Really?
this dinner party?
Oh. That looks pretty cute. That looks pretty cute.
August 10th, she uploads a series of photos. So this is exactly 1 month before Yu Menglong's passing. And I don't think that she knew this. It's clear that she doesn't, because you know when you upload photos, you can upload live photos. And when people click on them, it's like that awkward 3 seconds of motion and you can hear some things in the background. There's a lot of selfies of her where, I don't know, maybe it's an artistic choice, but I would just never upload those as live photos. It's not cool. She just looks like she's posing very awkwardly. And then she posts a series of them. So some of them are selfies of her. Some of them are photos of all the food.
Yeah,
that
what
she's
are you
been
doing?
eating.
Girl, you're
And you
eating
can hear
food.
people in the
Wow.
background. They're like mini little videos. The first one that has been a giant point of contention is of her taking pictures of food. And she's talking while taking this picture. And you hear her saying, he keeps resisting. He's still resisting. Resisting what? Who is he? Then another live photo, you can hear near the end, it sounds like someone saying, it's painful or what? Like it's hurting or what? It sounds a little aggressive is what people say. And then there's almost like this smack noise right before it. Like, it's painful or what?
Oh.
Now, some people are saying it doesn't sound like it's painful or what. It kind of maybe sounds like hurting. People are pointing out you can kind of hear pain or some variation of hurt and some variation of a slap. It's not entirely clear, but you can almost also hear someone say no or something along that line. This has been a huge point of contention. Now, in another live photo, people think that someone in the back is saying, why did you kidnap Long Long, which is Yu Menglong's nickname. I will say that one is a little bit more debatable, as people are saying, well, I don't hear it. Some people are saying, I absolutely hear it. It's been back and forth. But the he keeps resisting one, it's clear.
That one is crazy.
The audio is like as clear as this podcast. And there's another picture that has also been in that little photo dump timeline. Is she's at a sushi restaurant. And you see a little cloth on top of someone's phone. And that phone is very specific. It's an iPhone with this silicone orange phone case on it. And that same month, Yu Menglong took a picture. Someone's taking a picture of him taking a picture, and it's the same phone case. I've never seen one singular person outside of Yu Menglong have this specific phone case.
No, because the new iPhone is orange.
Yes.
So that's common. But this is before the new iPhone came out.
And
Which
it's
is
like
very uncommon to see someone have an orange, bright orange phone.
It's like a orange juice color silicone phone case. So it's like a very specific texture. It's a very specific look. and it's sitting on the table and there's a little like rolled hand towel on top of it, which makes people believe that he's still resisting. He doesn't have control over his phone. They took his phone and they're slapping him around to do whatever it means. These are the live photos that make Song Yiren part of the 17 list. Now, she does go back and she edits this original post. These pictures are still boldly up. I mean, I don't know if it's just maybe she thinks it makes her look less guilty if she doesn't take it down, but they're still up. The comments read, "This is the most popular Song Yiren will ever be." Who are you talking about resisting? Who's resisting, huh? Explain, who is resisting? Others are commenting, hell is empty because all the demons are here. Netizens also report that Song Yiren has a personal alternate account on Weibo, where she allegedly starts asking people who are questioning her online. So let's say Song Yiren, someone's commenting, Song Yiren, why are you doing this? Why were you there? Tell us, why
Why are you
so
doing this, girl?
And then this random account that people have connected with Song Yiren keeps commenting, what are you? To the person who hates Song Yiren. What are you? If you don't want your personal information exposed, be good. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died.
Huh?
Damn.
It's unclear if this account is truly hers and if these messages were actually sent. We don't even really know where she is right now. Clearly, she has not been detained. She has not been really questioned.
She's
Sometimes
gone,
her social media
bro.
account's IP show that her location is in Jiangsu, China. Other times it shows Japan. So people were very briefly confused. Like, is she fleeing the country? Did she flee to Japan to try and get away from all of this? Or is she changing her VPN so that she can throw people off from her location? Song Yiren has come out to say that she has nothing to do with any of this. In her statement, she says, recently I've been bombarded with online rumors, accusing me of introducing these big bosses to entertainers and luring people to drink and conspiring, fleeing abroad to Japan, even calling me a murderer. These rumors and obscenities are suffocating me, significantly impacting my work, my daily life. I'm experiencing unbearable online violence. In reality, I wasn't there. I wasn't at the dinner. Like everyone else, I only learned of Yu Minglong's passing that morning. To offer condolences to the deceased and to clarify matters, I hereby issue the following warning regarding these online rumors. The background noise in the live photos are not related to the incident. One photo in question, it was me and 3 of my friends having dinner at a public restaurant. During the meal, one of my friends was complaining about her husband. So she's saying, you know, he's still resisting.
Oh, the friend is saying her husband is still resisting?
Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
What?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
I thought the best case scenario for her defense, the best case would be like, oh, I was talking to this guy and he doesn't like me, but I'm still going to pursue him. He's still resisting. It's still alarming to say in that phrase. But I can't think of, or like maybe a deal. You're like trying to get a deal done and you're like, oh, he's still resisting the con. It's still weird.
Yeah,
But, like,
who
the way
says
she
that?
said, my friend was talking about her husband. It makes it even more
Resisting.
unbelievable. What is your husband resisting? Maybe he's resisting buying a Porsche. I don't know. You know, but it's just the amount of coincidences in these live photos don't make sense. Another photo, she says, I was eating with my assistant in a restaurant. There were waiters and other guests around. I don't even know. I was completely unaware of what was being said at the time. So she's saying the smacking sounds and the what, is it painful or what? She's saying, I don't know. Those are just like waiters and other people at the restaurant when I was recording this. I was taking this photo. I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
She
okay,
said, I
bitch.
used to live on a high floor in that building. I didn't live in that unit where people are pointing out the pictures of the clothing that they saw that matches Yu Minglong. She says, I lived on a high floor. So this is like her way of disproving it. She's like, I lived on a high floor. That's where I took photos of my daily life, but I moved out 9 months ago. I haven't lived there in a very long time. There are some low light photos circulating on the internet. Those are not of me. This seems like she's referring to the peephole videos. I am a Chinese citizen. I have been in Beijing since the incident, and I have not fled abroad. I don't know any so-called political tycoons.
Hello,
At work, I have
sector.
always relied on myself, and I have not done anything weird. After being cyberbullied, I've never deleted or edited any content or photos I posted on social media. I want to thank the social media platforms for their legal and regulatory cleanup of rumors after the incident. Because of my contract
How
with
you
the former agency
doing?
expired in June this year, I was unable to speak from the company or studio. In response to this urgent emergency, I believe that if I come out to clarify, it might have been easier to focus on me. So she's saying the reason that I didn't come out forward sooner to talk about all of this and to try to disprove all these rumors is because I thought that if I came out during the wake of this tragedy, all the attention would be on me. And it would fall into larger scale online bullying and questioning. So I decided to wait until the dust settles before responding. Spreading rumors and online violence will only cause more innocent people to be implicated and hurt. After going through so much, I really hope that the person who spread rumors can apologize. I've reported the case to the Public Security Department and have entrusted a lawyer to take legal measures. In short, she denies all allegations. She says that she's still in Beijing. She has nothing to do with Yu Minglong's passing. In fact, if you utter so much as a word about it, she's probably going to sue you. That's her threat.
Oh,
at
yeah?
least.
Oh, you
I will
gonna
say
sue?
September 28th, a new drama, The Moment I Met You, starring Song Yiren, went up and immediately gets taken
Playing
down 48
Assassin's
hours
Creed
later.
Shadows and
People
Borderlands
are
4
boycotting this drama
and
to hell
Silk
and back.
Song.
What's crazy is
Dang,
she's just
that's a
gone
lot of
back to posting
games.
normal photo dumps of her daily life.
Really?
Acting like none of this is happening. People are commenting, no more live photos? Oh, so you're just going to pretend nothing happened? And they also bring up Dylan Wang in a lot of her comments. So I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening with Dylan
Oh.
Wang? If you guys don't know, Dylan Wang is another very beloved actor
stop.
in China.
I just want
and
to
he's
zoom,
huge.
bro.
He also did a lot of fantasy shows
Holy
too.
fuck.
Dylan Wang and Song Yiren were on a reality TV show together previously. And this clip is so weird. He is sharing the story about how he was invited to a gathering at Song Yiren's house previously, before all of this. And everybody is like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Like tell us about it. And he's like, yeah, I mean, it was like this weird, she was having a party. And the whole time, Song Yiren is sitting next to him and she starts looking very uncomfortable. It's like she starts fidgeting, she starts taking sips of her tea, she starts looking side to side and kind of smiling sheepishly. And he's not exposing her for anything. He's just like, there was this one incident where she's saying, you guys are tired. Everyone come over and I prepared these foot baths for everyone.
Okay, just to clarify,
Yeah.
Dylan
What
Wang
baths?
and Song Yiren is on a reality show.
Yes.
They're sitting there sharing a story with a group of other celebrities.
Yes.
And this story is making Song Yiren looking a little uncomfortable because it's not a good, positive story about her.
Yeah. And so he's like, I thought it was so sweet
Oh.
of her because we had been working all day. And she's like, I just want to do something nice for everyone. Like, I just want to get a foot bath for you, right? So he goes over to the party and
Foot bath.
everyone's like, there's a foot bath. And he's like, oh, this is so sweet. Everyone's like, put your feet in the bath. Put your feet in the foot bath. Put your feet in the foot bath. He's like, oh,
Is this a common thing or no for Americans or no?
a foot bath? Oh,
No.
maybe, perhaps not.
It's like a soaking tub with
Yeah.
hot water.
It's like maybe it's a more
Not for
Yeah,
like
it's a
people
very
at a
common thing
party
we do, bro.
though.
Like
Yeah.
after a long day, steamy hot
Eh.
pot of hot water, you dip your feet in there. It's
Oh,
like
that's a
relaxes your
thing
whole
for
body.
It's
Chinese
like,
people.
also in
Okay.
Korea, they say it releases toxins. I guess it would be
yeah,
like
yeah.
taking a regular bath, but
Yes.
obviously just your feet. You just roll up your pants, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we
So
don't
it's
really
like a very
do that.
relaxing,
That sounds nice
calming,
though. Maybe
you
a
know,
foot bath every
treatment.
once in a
I do
while
wanna say
might be
there's no,
slay.
We are beautiful,
Beautiful.
all of us.
All of
connotations
us.
or anything weird about a foot bath. It's just a foot bath.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like you go to a manicure or a pedicure. And so
It's-
he's like, okay,
it's weird for
everyone
me.
is very excited about me putting my feet in the foot bath, right?
Yeah,
And
what
there's
the
a lot of people
hell?
there. So he's like, okay, he rolls up his pants and puts his
She got
feet
a
in the
foot
bath,
fetish
and
or
everyone starts
something?
laughing and cheering wildly. As if
the
like
hell?
this is the most revolutionary thing that has ever taken place. And
What the
yes,
fuck?
Dylan Wang is a revolutionary person, but like him putting his feet in a foot bath it wouldn't warrant such a response. So he's looking around really uncomfortably and confused. And turns out it was a very mean prank. Every single
Oh.
person had dipped their stinky feet into that foot bath before Dylan Wang. And this was, I
Oh.
guess, some sort of, I don't even know what kind of joke
Okay.
this was.
Yeah,
Ew.
it
And so-
seems like it was Song Yuan's idea, or this is.
Yeah, what
her
the
way
hell?
of-
That was
I don't
kind of
know
weird.
What it was.
That's
I think that it's just not nice.
Yeah.
That's
And so
also
she
not
looks
even that
uncomfortable
funny.
because her entire celebrity persona is being this nice, sweet girl.
Oh no,
And now
everybody
people are
used
saying
the
Dylan Wang
stinky
has
foot
warned us
bath
from the beginning.
water.
He probably didn't know
Okay.
anything dark, but he probably knew that she
Cool.
was not exactly who she presents of this
Why
nice
would
girl
you do
next door.
that?
And he shared that story as like, this is weird. Like I felt uncomfortable by that, and I didn't like that, which is understandable. And people have been commenting his name in the comments. They've been bringing up this clip, and she's still acting like nothing has happened, going about posting her normal life. And to do that, you really have to know the right people, which again comes up. The internet thinks that her parents are heavily politically connected. And on top of that, she has a very close friend of hers. This is the person that got her into the Beijing Film Academy. Director Cheng.
The
Oh!
red hair director, right?
Yes,
Mm.
from the WeChat text messages.
all ran in
Oh
the same
my
circle, these people, that's
god,
why.
it's all
And they're all such
connected. They're all
close friends. They
connected.
were friends since she was 13. He
Huh.
was like 30 something.
Ew.
What can you be
Look at
friends
his.
about?
Wait. I gotta show this picture. Sorry to Stephanie, it's not a good shot of you, but what is this? Minecraft looking ass mother. Yeah, he's a demon, bro. Ain't no way you just look like that without being possessed. No way, dude. I don't believe it.
They were friends since she
I
was
don't believe it.
13. He was like 30 something. What can you be friends about?
Mm.
So he gets her into the Beijing
Oh,
Film Academy. They're very close friends since then. And that
Yeah,
places
they not
both him
friends.
and her and Shinchi all at the scene of the crime, allegedly. But there's another one. There is a famous singer by the name of Fan Shiqi.
Fan Shiqi, yeah.
Fan Shiqi. We're going to call him Singer Fan.
Mhm.
Singer Fan has the world's strangest picture that I've ever seen in my
Do you
life.
know that they actually were from the same?
Yes, they're
Okay.
from the same. Oh,
So they were in the, I think it's Superboy, the
Yes.
same show that is what got them famous.
and it seems like they've had somewhat of a friendship since the very
Yeah.
beginning. Like everyone assumed that they were close friends. There didn't seem to be any sort of bad blood or any sort of tension on that show. It seemed like they got along well. And it periodically throughout their career, I think they've had run-ins, and nobody had any suspicion of anything bizarre happening. But there is this very strange picture of Singer
They are
Fun. It's a selfie of him in the car
beautiful.
with sunglasses on. I don't think it's particularly an attractive picture, but the caption reads, "Ever since I was little, I swore that I would kill anyone who's more handsome than me. Until today, my sword still hasn't been used. Hashtag fun, Shichi. Hashtag early days. Hashtag just handsome." So this is the type of guy that he is, okay? But then recently,
Just
what placed
handsome.
him at that dinner party was this leaked video. There's lots of voices in the leaked video, and people are saying this is the torture before Yu Menglong's death. A lot of people are saying there's just no way that Yu Menglong died from falling off the 5th floor. That's been a huge conspiracy, is that people have this theory that he was tortured to either A, get information out of him, such as a USB. Remember, I went over that theory. People think that Yu Menglong finally found money laundering evidence between Shinji and everybody else, and he downloaded it into a USB and said, I want out of this. I don't want any of this. I don't want to go to drinking parties with anyone. I just want to have a normal career. Keep me out of this. He brings the USB. They want to get the USB out of him. He swallows it, and they're trying to torture him to see if maybe he can spit it out.
He gulped
maybe
it.
he needs to tell them if there's another copy elsewhere. That's been a huge running theory. Another running theory is that they're just torturing him because they like it, or perhaps they want him to consent to sleeping with them and he just won't. There's this audio, leaked audio, where you hear what sounds like singer Fun's voice, and it's saying, "You're lucky that I didn't beat you to death. As a man, it's just a little blood. What's the big deal? It's not a fucking thing." A lot of people say it sounds just like Singer Fun, and it is a very venomous way of talking. I don't know if this is AI generated. I don't know. I mean, with cases these days, specifically cases where authorities will not come out and confirm or deny anything, it's getting so crazy with AI. The amount of
the
times
AI
that
is
we have to look
ridiculous.
for frame by frame to see if we can spot any sort of discrepancy that would indicate that it's AI generated. But even then, it's not like I specialize in discovering that. Like, I barely know anything. So it's just been so difficult, and
then
there's
the fact
so
that
many.
we've run into even like there are real photos, and then people use AI to make that photo move. So now it's like, oh, that looks like the video because it looks just like that photo. And then we have to look frame by frame, and then we turn out it was AI, it was fake. I don't know how it's gonna be in 6 months.
I mean, 6 months is bad. Like 6 years would be so.
Yeah.
Yes, so bad. This one specifically, I think it was, I was talking to you about it. It was the craziest thing. We were all sitting there and I was like, something about this is so weird. This is the video that gets Singer Fun roped into all of this. He's saying all of this, and Yu Menglong, you hear dog howling, and then Yu Menglong's voice comes out, and it's the weirdest, calmest voice, and he says, "Oh, Fu Li is here to save me." Fu Li is his dog. So people were saying, listen to this entire leaked video.
Oh,
This guy,
no.
Singer Fun, is torturing Yu
Where are the
Menglong,
dogs at?
making him bleed. He's like, oh, blood's nothing, right? And then the dog starts barking, and Yu Menglong is like, my dog is here to save me. And then you hear just seconds and minutes of the sound of a dog howling and Yu Menglong wailing, like sobbing. And it sounds like his dog is being tortured in front of him.
Thank you, Oni JPEG, for the follow.
徒弟来救我了，没鸡巴打死就不错了，他妈忍着点吧，没鸡巴事儿，大男人他妈流血算鸡巴什么？
But then it gets confusing. Because that whole part where he says, Fu Li is here to save me, his dog's named Fu Li, that's from his live stream.
Oh, what? What the hell?
We don't know how much of this video is accurate. Singer Fun saying that, it sounds like him, could be AI, but it sounds like him, but it could be AI, we don't know.
Oh
And then
my
this part, it
God.
seems like it was edited in, because it sounds just like him saying it in his live stream where he's cooking, and then he sees his dog and he's like, oh, Fu Li is here to save me. And it's just calm. It doesn't match the tone of the rest of the video. But then when you have
True.
the dog howling and Yu Menglong crying, it sounds like him.
Yeah.
It sounds like him crying. So it's like, what is it possible that 80% of this video is true and the 20% is edited? Is it possible that 90% is true? Is it possible that only 50% is true? And if any part of it is true, that's already very alarming. And then there has been this conspiracy that's been running around, which I've been talking to you
this
about
is
like people
insane.
saying, oh, well, it's been debunked. Well, has it really been debunked? Who said it's debunked? Another big problem with this case is there are speculations that the people in power, perhaps even the government, they take a very real audio clip and
Fuck
they
the
intentionally fake
government.
it. Because they're like, this audio clip is probably going to get out there somehow. Someone's leaking information, so it's going to get out. So why don't we put it out first, but we insert some fake audio, throw it out there. Some internet sleuth is going to say, wait, this is fake, this is fake. And now this whole audio
This
that
is
would have been
fake.
leaked as real is now fake.
Yeah.
Because we edited in this random little
The
word in there.
conspiracies
that
on
you
this
can hear from his other
case
live stream.
Yeah, that's a very easy way for them to
is
invalidate
actually
anything that's even
insane.
real, right?
And it's a very smart way of doing it.
Yeah.
Because now it makes everybody question. And I see people
Yeah.
fighting in the comments.
Oh, they
So
fighting.
it's been a whole thing of
I already know they fight. I
how
haven't
much of
seen it.
can
I
we
could
trust,
already
even if it is debunked. They're like,
imagine.
what part of it is debunked. It doesn't mean the whole video is debunked. We don't know, but it does connect to another leaked video. So in the video, people believe that Singer Fun was torturing Yu Menglong, and later tortured the dog in front of Yu Menglong ultimately killing the dog in front of Yumeng. And the
Oh.
reason that people believe that part of the audio is real is because there's another video, a recording outside of Yumeng Long's residential window. And this is from allegedly a neighbor of Yumeng Long. And again, this could be fake, this could be real,
Alright,
this
I
could
think
be
this
half fake,
picture's
we don't know.
done.
But you just hear muffled wailing, and it sounds like Yumeng Long sobbing, Fuli, I'm so sad, I can't do this, I'm so miserable. Fuli is his dog's name. There's so much blood, you killed my dog. I'm gonna insert the audio, but just a trigger warning, skip ahead, maybe 30 seconds. I don't know how good AI content is getting, but the sounds sound very visceral. It doesn't sound like AI generated screaming. It sounds gut-wrenching.
Oh god, I'm scared. Bro, what are they doing to this man? Oh my god. Jesus Christ. And then here comes Alta. Here comes Alta. We are beautiful.
But this makes people believe
Stop.
that Singer Fan is there and that they killed Yumeng Long's dog to get him to comply. People are now asking Singer Fan in his comments, what is 12 years of friendship to you? Your shameless betrayal and lies have been exposed. But what's crazier is that 4 days after Yumeng Long's passing, Singer Fan posts on Weibo, I'm very happy. Are you guys happy? If you're happy, are you ready to meet me in Chengdu? Which was for his next concert that sold exactly 15 tickets. The comments all read,
15
his friend is
tickets?
dead. What is this motherfucker happy about? Ultimately, only 15 tickets were sold for that concert. They had to cancel the entire thing. His studio tried to make it seem like he had to
15
cancel it because he's
tickets.
sick. But all the netizen comments read, oh, you're not feeling well? I hope you don't make it. Hope the disease defeats you ASAP. You must not get through this. Fighting. People think it's
Shit.
weird that he has not made any sort of big statement disproving any of this. And the one thing that people think could debunk that Singer Fan is there, the dogs. If this audio is not real, then the dogs are fine. Where are Yumeng
Yeah, where
Long's
the dogs?
beloved dogs? Like he
Where the
loves
dogs
those
at?
An employee
Huh?
of the agency that Yumeng Long was signed with, the one that everybody hates right now, she's like, I work at the agency, but I've been a good friend of Yumeng Long's forever. She says, in fact, there was a time where I was really sad and I had some bad
Yes.
thoughts, and he was the one that stopped me. He was the one texting me. And so I don't believe that he would ever self-exit. So it must have been a drunken accident. Basically, that's her whole stance on
This
all of
was
this.
like the message that we're seeing when this first happened. She's the first one to come out and say, this could not be self-exit because Yumeng Long saved me when
Yes.
I had the thought.
But she's so convinced that it is a drunk accident, which people are saying that doesn't make sense because if you work at the agency and you are a so-called close friend of Yumeng Long's, you would know that he would not drink that much right before a CCTV giant performance that he has the next day on a government-run television program. So you would know that. People don't like her because the dots are not connecting. But some people are open to it. They say, well, if you're such a close friend, can you tell us that Yumeng Long's dogs are fine? Because then maybe we don't need to cancel Singer Fan and maybe we are cyberbullying him. Maybe he's innocent. Just let us know where the dogs are.
Yeah,
Are
where
they
the dogs
okay?
at? Where
And
the
she comes
dogs
out to
at?
say, the dogs are fine. Okay,
Okay, show
They're being
them.
taken care of
By
by a
who?
close friend of Yumeng Long.
Who?
What's very interesting right off
Who?
the bat is that her posts are not being censored. Anyone asking about the dog, their posts are getting buried. It's getting deleted.
Wow.
It's getting wishy-washy on different platforms. Sometimes it goes down quicker than others. But she's doing full-on posts about Yumeng Long's dogs and being like, don't worry, guys. Yumeng Long is gone, but his dogs are here and they're fine and they're with his friend. The posts are up. So people start asking, okay, well, if the dogs are fine, can you just ask that friend for a photo of the dogs? We just want a photo of the dogs to make sure that they're okay.
A photo, a video.
A
just
video?
disproves a lot of things.
Something?
Yeah, just give
So
us
easy.
time and date and a photo of the dogs, and we're good. And she starts commenting back, you guys are so weird. You don't think that you're so weird and ridiculous? When Yumeng Long was alive, you didn't even care about him, but now that he's gone, everyone cares about his
Gaslight.
dogs? What do you mean?
Manipulate.
Such a bizarre response.
Just give us a picture of his dogs. It's very evasive, to say the least. This lady is also allegedly very close with Kimmy before he passed away, suspiciously. And she just keeps repeating that all of this was a drunk accident and you guys are weird for wanting pictures of the
don't know if
dogs,
this
for
is
wanting proof
too
of life of the
right.
dogs. She's a screenwriter for the agency, but others have been coming out to say, I don't think so. I think she's politically well connected. I think she is actually running a lot of the show behind the scenes because the way that she's coming out to make these bold statements and claims, you're not just a screenwriter from the agency. Even the chairman of the agency stepped down because of all this happening. And this screenwriter gets to go online and say all sorts of things and she hasn't been fired. They're just letting her do this.
Yeah,
Are
what?
you the one running things? And to that, I mean, you could just play it off as a very goofy rumor. Like, if you are genuinely just like an employee, at a
So
company that
goofy,
people
you
accuse of being
guys.
Jeff
You're
Bezos,
so
it's just like
goofy.
this is so goofy. This is ridiculous. Like, I'm not even going to pay attention to it because of how unrooted in reality it is. That would be a typical response. But instead, she starts commenting. Like, someone who's saying stuff like that probably has never been inside of an office before. No common sense at all. It's very
Damn,
defensive.
defensive, yeah.
Which makes people think, is it true then? It doesn't make sense. She's also very unhinged, I will just say. She goes on to post a certificate of a star that she had purchased. And she says, Prince has his own planet now. And it's just a picture of a star certificate.
Yeah, like you know how you can purchase like a star, yeah, in the space.
And it's for Yu Menglong. And
I
there
don't
is a giant
understand
star
that
emoji on there
star
covering
thing.
something, which is already strange.
Can I
And
can
on
I
the
say something
certificate-
about buying a star? Who's selling the stars? Who owns the stars that you could just buy? That's a scam. That's a good scam. So you make a company be like, you could buy this star in honor of someone's death, blah blah blah. It's not. You don't own the star. No.
certificate,
It's-
it reads, Dear Yu
like,
Menglong,
what?
you are everything when you are with
That's
me.
such a good
and everything
scam.
is you when you are not. Does that sound like just a thing that you do when you work together? Like you are just colleagues?
Who's
you're a screenwriter
owning
for
the
an agency,
stars
you
that they could
talent for
just
the
sell to
agency. Sure, you
people?
guys
What
can
the
have a friendship,
fuck?
but to
Nobody.
put that on the star is very odd. People looked up the coordinates, and the star is, you know how she put that giant emoji covering it? People
Yeah.
look up the coordinates, and that star is not just called the Yu Menglong star. It's Yu Menglong and her name together on the star.
Oh,
And at the
she put her
very
own
end,
name on the
There
star.
is another word. It's an Arabic word. I'm gonna butcher it.
Like she literally named the star. It's almost like Stephanie plus Panda.
Yeah. I think
This
it's-
is so chilling.
Yeah. And she puts this Arabic word. Apparently, it means like you bury me. It's supposed to be a very romantic and somber way of saying, I hope to die before you so that you can bury me, because if you leave first, I can't live without you. It's like a very strong
kinda
romantic gesture
strange.
of like, I will not be okay if you're gone. So you must be the one to bury me. Netizens were so irked by all of this because, well, for one,
The
it's just
fuck?
creepy. Like, what do you mean you guys work together and you bought a star and you're putting all these different romantic connotations and you seem like you're more higher up in the agency than you want to lead on? And also, why can't
Were you
give
trying
us
to
a
fuck
picture of the
this man
dogs?
too? Was
And we
everybody
hate
in
this
love
star.
with this fucking
Netizens were so
guy?
irked that they bought their own star and they named it Little Fish, which is Yu Menglong's
He didn't want
nickname.
any of y'all.
Yu means fish in China, so they call him Little Fish. Now, side note, it is said that she has a second account that she uses frequently, and September 10th, she writes, The last time is terrifying. You won't know it's the last time. There is no goodbye, no signs, just regrets. Good night.
That's a very cryptic message before everything went down the next day.
Damn,
Because the
bitch.
first post goes up at around 11 in the morning the next day. She posts this allegedly on her alleged second account. There's no way to prove that this is her account. There's no way to prove that this has any relation to the Yu Menglong case. But if it is, it seems like she knows a lot.
Yeah, this woman is so weird.
Yeah.
Just like the dog thing to me is
she
the
is
biggest
weird.
red flag. She inserted herself into this whole dog thing. She's like, no, the dogs are not dead. And then as soon as people are asking for a photo, she got so mad. And she's yet to send a photo, which is such an easy thing to do.
Bro. This case? What is going on? This is a crazy fucking case. Bro, what is going on in
She could easily
China,
just
bro?
Take a video of herself going to see the dog.
Yeah. Or you just even ask
This
the
is
friend
a
for the
massive
photo.
fucking conspiracy.
It doesn't add up.
This
Yeah.
places her also on that list. People don't know if she was there that night. People don't know if perhaps she just knows a lot, coordinated a lot. A lot of netizens are on the belief that she knew more than she's leading on, that she knew more than September 11th. Morning came around, paparazzi released the information. They think that either she was called that night or she was there that night. Then we have the red-haired director. We're coming back to him. So the reason that he's placed at the scene is because he's always harassing young men. It seems like he was very
Demon.
into Yu Menglong. And another thing is, there is a picture of him at a fashion show the next day after Yu Menglong's passing, and these are paparazzi photos, and there appears to be what looks like blood on his shoes. Like if you were to step in blood and it would dry on your shoes. It's not like splattered where he would even notice. It's not so obvious where it's like, oh, no, that seems like a design choice, or that seems like this. It just seems like on the very edge, near the sole of his shoe, coming up the ridges a little bit of his sneakers.
arms
it looks
hurt.
Like he's stepped in something dark and red.
To the
It
gym
is weird. I mean, I don't remember
yesterday.
last time I got red
did
on my shoes.
arms.
It's a very
Oh
specific
god,
color.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
I'm like sore
It's not
like
like brown and dirt. It's
here,
red.
like right.
And he's best friends with Hong Yuren, who has also been placed at the scene.
Ah.
So everyone, and remember September 10th, that night, he posts delicious, like yummy on Weibo.
He
So again,
did.
that puts him at that
Freak.
scene. And then there's a new photo that starts circulating in neighborhood forums and later on social media platforms. One of the biggest questions was, who the hell are these two guys holding hands at the scene of the crime? Which, by the way, it's not really a scene of the crime because the investigation has closed it as a drunk accident, but most people think it's the scene of the crime. They're like, who are these two dudes?
Can you explain the photo again? Like
Yes.
the situation? What are we talking about?
Of course. So this is a lot of neighbors had gone to that building to try and see what's going on, investigate, and all the police are trying to tape it off. They're not even letting security in. It's very controlled. But outside the building, you see building 18, and at the very bottom, right before the door opens, before you get into the building, there's a bunch of police officers scattered about, and you see this man in white, and he has his back turned toward the camera, so you can't really see his face, and he's sitting on what looks like the ledge. It's a little sidewalk ledge. And then a man in black is standing next to him, and you only see his side profile. And he's like holding his hand. They look like they're caressing, comforting each other. But it's not this deep sense of profound comfort of we are in immense grief. Let's cry together. It's almost like those jokes of the young couple at Disneyland lines. Like you always see that weird high school couple that's like all up on each other, and you're like, whoa, this is Disneyland. What's going on? Like, please, let's be appropriate. Like it feels like that. It's like they're just like holding each other's hands. It's not that inappropriate, but it's like it's weird. It's like a calmer, comforting.
The feeling I got was like I thought maybe one of them is the one that put their shirt on Yu Menlong, like they're the friends of Yu Menlong, and they're just looking at the situation, comforting each other by holding their hands. Like what the fuck?
But it doesn't feel like a deep, profound.
Yeah.
Like I'm in grief because no one's slumped over. No, I feel like if you're really that sad of a friend passing and seeing that friend pass, I feel like you'd be slumped over and someone would be like patting your back.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be like, here's my hand, hold my hand while you're standing next to me.
Yeah.
So people thought it was really weird, but they're like,
The
who hell
analyzing
are
of the
these two guys
body
holding hands?
language.
Because they must have been at the dinner party. The guy in white, obviously, you can't see him because his back is turned to the camera. But the man in black, you can see his side profile, and people are saying it looks just like Director Chang. Now, a little bit of context. The man in black has black hair. Director Chang has bright, flaming red hair.
Yeah,
and
he does.
comes out to say, you guys, I have had this flaming red hair for years. I've never had black hair. I didn't have black hair September 10th, September 11th, and I don't have black hair now. People are saying, okay, well, we didn't see you September 10th and September 11th, so we don't know if maybe you just dyed your hair back. But I will say the day after, when he did go to the fashion show, he did have red hair. So he's saying, that's not me, but people
could have been a
still
wig.
believe he was there that night because of the delicious comment that he made on Weibo, that random post. He's friends with Hong Yiren. He's known to be very creepy, and a lot of people believe that he was trying to sleep with Yu Menglong.
And allegedly, I don't know if it's true or not, I read that when Kimi passed away, he also posted delicious on Weibo.
No! He was obsessed with Kimi as well. People are saying that his obsession moved on from Kimi after his passing to Yu Menglong. He was obsessed with Kimi.
Dude
still
is
posts
the
about Kimi on his
fucking
anniversary of his
diddler. What
passing,
the
posts
hell?
all sorts of nonsense. And this has actually been a huge point of contention. After Yu Menglong's passing, he posts about Kimi. And people are like, why is he posting about Kimi? Because it's making him look more suspicious. So not only do we think that you are connected to Yu Menglong's passing, we also think you're reminding us that we think that you're connected to Kimi's passing.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, because the whole world thinks you
Why would
did
you do
this
that?
to Yu Menlong. And you brought up another singer that passed under very
Suspicious
Yeah.
circumstances.
that's a really weird action. When
Yeah,
people
that's
are
really
thinking,
weird,
yeah.
bro. We weren't even
People are
talking
thinking
about that
That's
person.
his way of telling people, the very powerful people, you know you need to protect me. Because he's getting a lot of the heat. Him and Hong Yiren and the
He
singer
is
fan
getting-
are getting a lot of heat right now. Because there's just a lot more to dig through. A lot of the other people, yes, they're powerful, they're well connected allegedly, but
Oh my God,
there's
that
not
makes
a lot
so
of
much sense
there's
now.
not a lot of conversation about them because you don't really know that much about them. You don't have them doing interviews, you don't have them doing outrageous things on camera, you don't have social media posts.
So the
to
message
study.
is not for the public; it's for those people
Yeah.
who's involved. You
Yeah.
know, allegedly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the allegation is like, hey, you remember what I know? Let's not forget
Remember
what I
this
know.
person
What
and this
exactly is he
person that I
posting?
killed
He's
and this
posting about,
person?
like, I've
We
talked
all
to,
killed them?
Kimi's parents posted this video because he should have turned 37 this year, but he's gone. And I'm just posting he will forever be youthful, which again, people think is weird because he does have an obsession with young boys, men,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It was just like very vague and weird stuff to the point where people are like, okay, we think he's posting this to remind these powerful people, since he is one of the few getting dragged through the mud. Don't forget that I know a lot of stuff too. But if he's not the guy in the black shirt, because people are saying, we think that he was there, but we don't think he's the guy in the black shirt. I
No.
mean, like the side profile is alarmingly similar, but you're
And
right, he
let's
does have
ask
black
a
hair,
wig,
and Director Chang always
but
has
I
red
don't
hair.
think that doesn't
Who
make
are
any
these two guys
sense.
holding hands at the scene of the crime?
Yeah.
That's where Ji Guangguang comes in. Ji Guangguang is the
Guangguang?
owner of the apartment building in which Yu Menglong passes away from. He's a writer, screenwriter. His biggest work was, I think it's a show called Come On, You Are the Best. He's also written some books. According to an online detective, he is the homeowner and he was the host of the dinner party. And he's not necessarily the most successful, but that just means he's well connected. He's politically powerful. He loves Rolex watches. He loves spending a lot of money, but he doesn't really have the success to back it up. So, like, he must be one of the politically well-connected people as well in there. It just doesn't make sense.
So those two watches were allegedly his
Yes.
in Yu Menglong's pocket.
Yes, if it is true that there were Rolex watches, people think that it was his. He seems to be a huge fan of the brand Rolex.
That is so weird.
Shi Tao is Ji Guangguang's husband. So they think that Ji Guangguang is the man in white, and Shi Tao, his
True.
husband, is the man in black
I
comforting
think,
him.
yeah.
So they are at the
Men
scene.
don't hold
But we
hands
don't
like
really
that
know
unless,
much
you
about
know.
him. We just have this rumor that Ji Guangguang's father was the former
They
premier of the
gay.
state council. So it seems like there
A
has
straight
already
man
been
would never hold
allegations
another
at the
man's
forefront
hand
since
like
long time
that.
ago
That's like a
he is
couple
very
hand
politically well
hold.
connected. But being politically well connected is not necessarily a bad thing until now. So they get placed at that dinner party. And Ji Guangguang doesn't really make any statements that are convincing. He just goes off to immediately turn off his comment section. And people think that is very suspicious. There's
Yeah.
also another photo of him where it's a very blurry photo of him inside of his apartment unit. And it looks just like what the apartment units look like in this building. It looks like the window that Yu Minglong fell out of in the back of this photo. So we've got Ji Guangguang, we've got his husband, and that husband is definitely not Director Chang. But Director Chang is placed at the scene of the crime. And then he goes on to keep fighting it. He's like, I'm not going to shut up about this. I'm going to post these WeChat photos. I'm going to show you guys my messages. And that is how Tian Hairong gets placed at the scene of the dinner party.
The billionaire widow
Yeah.
that allegedly also wanted Yu
Yu
Minglong.
Minglong. Tian Hairong.
Dude,
her
everybody
husband
wanted to
is-
fuck this
was
guy.
At one point, one of the richest men in China. He went to prison for
Why?
money laundering. He died suspiciously in prison, and she inherited billions of dollars. She
Oh,
has
that
been
was a
friends
setup.
with the red-haired director for at least the past
Mm.
20 years. And people are saying she is the money behind all of this. I mean, yes, all of these people are politically well connected. What does that mean? They have boatloads of money. They've got a lot of it. But they're using their political connections to get away from this scot-free. They're going to have the authorities not investigate. They're going to shut it down online. It's going to be censored. But what about her? If you've got no political connections, so people are saying everyone can be the fall guy. You can be the fall guy. If people are thinking that Yu Minglong was murdered, let's give them a murderer. That's the easiest way out of this. Why does it have to be this hard? Why do we have to have all these rumors and these conspiracy theories? They
True.
want a murder? Give them a murderer. That's usually what bad people do. So why is there no murderer being placed at the scene of the crime? Why is there no fall guy? And so you've got people thinking, okay, well, maybe Song Yiren was just a madam that was working in the business, but people are like, there's no way, because then she would have been the easiest fall guy.
Yeah. I don't think they want to do a fall guy because
He might be
they're
related
all-
to the head of the administration.
they're gonna
so there's no way
expose
he's gonna
each
be the fall
other.
guy.
Like, they're all gonna
Director
expose
with the
each
red hair,
other.
He's telling them straight up, allegedly online, I've got so much information. You don't
Like,
want me to
there's
be the
no
fall
way.
guy. Same with the manager, Yu Minglong's manager. Maybe they know too
They
much
all have
information.
they
Then
all
you've
have
got Ji
dirt on
Guangguang
each
and his
other,
husband,
so there's
perhaps
no
they're so
way.
politically well connected that they're not going to go down for it. And now you just have Ting Hairong. She's a billionaire, but it's a little bit different in China where billionaires have so much power. They do, but they don't have as much power as they would in America. They are still subject to the head of the administration. At the end of the day, they are not the top dog. And so why can't she go down? They could just say, hey, she's a creepy widow and she was obsessed with this guy. He didn't want her because she's older and like maybe he doesn't like her. Whatever. She got enraged. She kicked him off the building. She pushed him off the building. She hired one of these random people off the street to push him off the building. They could have made her the fall guy. Allegedly, she is the pockets in all of this. Neighbors have reported that people were going around offering tens of thousands of dollars per resident to not talk to any media, to not talk to the police, and to just shut their mouth. Don't post anything. Don't go on Instagram. Don't go on Reels. Don't go on Threads, which is where a lot of people have been circulating information. Just shut up.
Interesting that
and
the
here's money.
Threads.
People did calculations. You're talking about tens of millions of dollars. The only person that would have quick access to that kind of funds is Tian Hairong. It doesn't make any sense. Additionally, some people said that they didn't take the money. There are allegations that netizens there did not take any of the money. They didn't want it. And they were perhaps talking to some reporters, posting a bit online. Their tires were allegedly slashed. That has been the rumor that's been going around. They've had red paint splashed on their doors. And within days, a lot of the units in this complex go up for sale. These units are going up for sale at crazy discounted rates. People are panic selling. Now, originally the thought was, well, that makes sense. You have very bad news in an apartment complex. You don't want that to affect your equity in the house. So maybe you want to be the first few to sell before it really starts plummeting and people all want out. It's kind of like the stock market. Everyone's panic selling. That was the initial thought. But the amount of money that people would be losing, it doesn't make any sense. And also, lots of tragedies happen in Beijing at all sorts of different apartment complexes. And typically, like, you just ride the wave and like in a year, you won't lose any money. It doesn't make any sense that they would be panic selling unless they're scared to live there. They just don't want to live there because they know it is not what they're telling the internet. So why would you feel safe living there when the internet is saying, okay, these authorities are saying that he fell drunk, but you know that's not true because you heard things at night.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that it was like the neighborhood before was like they have 90 units that's listed for sale. Overnight, it went to like 153 or something. Just like boom, doubled.
In like
Holy
12
That
hours.
doesn't make sense. You know, something happened.
One neighbor says, I live nearby. I was contacted by them. It's not really disclosed who they are, but they gave us a lot of money. And they gave my family a lot of money for not revealing anything. We did hear the sound of something falling down that night, but security told us that one of the units was just like throwing trash away. So we just assumed it was that. They asked us to ignore the sound. Like I was saying in the beginning of the episode,
That was his body hitting the fucking floor.
Into all of this is that she reposted her WeChat screenshots. They don't align with everything that's been happening. That receipt of the Bulgari Hotel restaurant receipt, that was weird. And so people think, yes, you are a very suspect person, and we think that you were there at the dinner party. But she really seals the deal in the netizen opinion department when she decides to repost a statement from the police officials as a way to inadvertently declare her innocence. She reposts the police statement that they have officially arrested 3 people in connection with this case. Okay, this is like
This
the craziest
case
thing. The police finally come out with their own
insane.
statement. Previously, everybody's talking for the police, saying the police have concluded that there's no foul play. The police come out weeks later.
Okay, so in China, the police announcement is always coming out in this navy blue poster. That's like with a stamp of the police on there. That's the official statement. And that usually gives you the most credible information, as credible as the police official statement is.
And people thought that it was going to be about Yu Menglong's case. So they're like, okay, this is a long one. We see lots of words. So it must be about Yu Menglong's case, and we're finally going to get answers. And they kind of briefly touch about Yu Menglong, but more so, they just post 3 people have been detained in connection with this case. They are being investigated. One detainee fabricated a story that Yu Menglong was set up by others and injured before jumping. Another detainee fabricated a story that he was thrown off the building. And the last detainee fabricated a story that Yu Menglong's mother was being held under control, resulting in her not being able to comment on this case. All 3 of them have been placed under compulsory legal measures by the police. This is
Wait,
like
what?
That's it. All they write about Yu Menglong is after Yu Menglong's accidental fall from the building while intoxicated. Police immediately investigated. Through scene inspection, forensic examinations, interviews, and reviewing of the surveillance footage, criminal suspicion has been ruled out. The investigation results were shared with the family, who have raised no objections. Yu Menglong's mother has also issued a statement through the studio's official Weibo account. We're going to get more on this mother's statement later on, but people are just saying, I mean, it does not take that many neural pathways to figure out that this statement is not going to be received well. Within an hour,
Oh
there are
my
almost
God, bro. The
100,000 comments left
corruption.
under the official post, but only like 8 of them were viewable to the public.
Oh,
Wow.
People
holy
have gone
fuck.
to repost it, and a lot of those comments read, "You should spend less time on social media and more time investigating crimes. What should I pay attention to if my friend invites me to a dinner party at their apartment in Beijing? Hey, so you guys saw nothing on the 5th floor? No stairs, no elevator, no surveillance cameras? Like, are we seeing anything?" Other people comment, "There is never any sort of drinking party, only other types of parties." But what's crazy about this is Tian Hairon repost the photo of the police bulletin that they had posted on Weibo. So you've got 2 posts. You've got the police's original Weibo post of this bulletin board. She reposts that picture. And people are looking at them too, side by side, and they go, that's really strange. Because on the corner of the police post, on the corner, bottom, you see their Weibo handle, like Beijing Chaiyang Police. Then you go to her picture, and you see in the corner her username for Weibo. But it's not a bunch of jumbled words. It's not her username on top of the police username, which means she must have had the original bulletin. She must have had an original copy of what they were going to post. This is crazy because the police don't just give that out to people. Police don't really go out of their way to give their statements and official postings to people for fun. FOIAs, FOIA requests are not really a thing in China, so how could she get that if she doesn't have some sort of power over the police or some sort of connection with the police officers? Especially when you consider a reporter
The
called the police just before this
conspiracy
official statement was
never
posted, asking for
ends,
an update
bro.
on the case. Just a status update. The police straight up tell them,
I feel
"Look,
like
you're
I
not
want it
directly
more
related to Yu Menglong or Yu
red.
Menglong's family. I cannot disclose anything about this case. Just wait for the official announcement like everybody else." So why doesn't Tian Hairong just wait for the official announcement like everybody else and just repost it with their handle on the side just like everybody else?
Purple.
It
Crazy.
doesn't make any sense. Especially when you consider that doesn't get censored, but all these different bloggers who are reposting leaked information or even journalists sharing what their sources have told them, their accounts are getting restricted or banned on social media. Fishermen on Weibo, Little Red Book, Douyin, they've all been banned. A lot of them have been deleted. Fishermen are coming out and saying, "I'm trying to make a living selling fish. I go out into the deep ocean, deep sea fishing. I come back, I make little doings, I make little TikToks to bring people to my dried fish store on TikTok shop. And I have been banned. I've been suspended."
Why?
Because Yu means fish, and so people trying to get around the censorship, instead of saying Yu Menglong, they've been calling him Little Fish. And they've just started banning people that have little fish or fish too often in their freaking live
Oh
stream
my
or their videos.
God,
They just
bro.
started banning all of them. Even people who are, they're not even fishing. People who are selling fishing hooks, fishing lines, fishing equipment, fishing boat
They
tour
banned the
companies,
word
all of them are
fish
getting
because it
suspended,
is.
and they're getting very frustrated. And then that inadvertently would trigger a deletion of accounts that would use other words. So once all the fish accounts are getting banned, people are coming forward and fishermen are very upset and they're losing their livelihood. A lot of people have started calling him something else. They're like, okay, let's try to find a different word that we could use and one that wouldn't affect too many people. One of the easiest ones was Yu Menglong's fan base originally called themselves lemons. And people are like, okay, well, lemons, there's not really lemon sellers. Like, you just go to the market and you buy a lemon. You're not gonna have someone
Lemons.
that's like,
Ban
"Let me show you how I
lemons
pick my lemons
in
and I'm gonna
China.
sell
You
my
can't
lemons
eat
online."
any
And I'm sure there's
lemons.
some
Done.
lemon-related businesses, but it's not going to be as vast as the fishermen.
What the fuck?
Lemon gets banned. Selling umbrellas gets banned because that is
Yu is rain. Also means rain.
yeah. Yu Menglong means hazy. So a
Yes.
lot of people have been describing him as this whole situation as hazy, as rain, as foggy. A lot of celebrities even that were close with Yu Menglong, they're not allowed to talk out, and I don't think anyone wants them to because look at what's happening. It's so scary out there. So of course no one wants their favorite celebrity to say anything and get
This
themselves in a
cheek
very dangerous position.
spot
But
is
a lot of
very-
celebrities that were close with Yu Menglong have gone to post pictures of like foggy skies when it's raining or hazy mornings, and they'll just write "what a hazy morning."
Oh
And it's
my
kind of their
god,
way
the
of drawing
censorship
attention
is
to it, saying, like, I see
crazy.
it. I also am grieving, but I can't say anything.
That's so sad. Oh my god, bro. This is crazy. It just proves that the conspiracies that they're coming up with, it's all true. Because why are you trying to censor it so much? Oh my god. I hope this fucking music is not
People have
copyright.
been banning selling umbrellas, lemons.
You
fish,
can't even
catching
sell
fish.
umbrellas
It said
because it
that
is.
If you are doing any of those or saying any of those words, even if you're not talking about Yu Menglong, if you're going at the fish market and you're talking about the different types of seafood that they're selling there, it's likely that your live stream is going to lose internet connection. One netizen jokes,
Bro.
but not really. It's depressing. They say, yeah, soon enough, they're probably going to even ban selling fish at the market at this rate. A lot of Chinese people actually have
What they
a term
finna
for all of
eat?
this, and they say it's a serpent eating its own tail. And that's how a lot of times censorship has been described. And like I do want to say, I think we're lucky to live in the US where censorship is maybe not as obvious of a problem, but censorship exists everywhere. Like even in the US, like there's no
Yeah.
such thing as I don't think there's any country that does not have censorship to any varying degree, but they say that when censorship gets really bad, it's a serpent eating its own tail. Because something is getting censored, naturally it causes everyone to wonder, why the hell is this
Yeah.
getting censored? Which
Yeah,
then
why is
leads
this
to a
getting
bigger
censored?
conversation
Because
of
you're
the
then like,
intent
oh, it
of the
must be,
censorship,
we must be
the
onto something if they're
conspiracy theories,
censoring
the
it.
dark different allegations and suspicious
know?
points, which again could not be true, could be absolutely true. We don't know, but this cycle starts and the conspiracies get darker and bigger, and then that conspiracy getting censored almost adds credibility to the conspiracy, and it's a serpent eating its own tail. And it's like this vicious cycle of just we don't know what's true, and everyone just gets hurt in the process. And it's not even like the government really benefits either.
No, they
And
don't.
it instills a lot of fear in citizens. I think the reason that people are very upset about this case is I think there are lots of people who just love Yu Menglong, and I think there's a lot of people who just don't like injustice. But there's also this extreme fear in citizens of if even this celebrity Yu Menglong's death can be covered up, so to speak,
Yeah.
what about literally every other citizen who does not
Literally
have
yours
25,
can be
26 million
cut-
followers
like
who care about their
your-
well-being? Who cares about them?
They could kill
One
you
comment
and
reads,
no one would
if it
know.
truly were just an accident, why such heavy-handed censorship? I just don't get it. And on that note, I'm going to go through some of the rapid fire conspiracies that do get a little bit more off the beaten path. Like these are conspiracies that I probably don't see as frequently connected to any other case. I think that there were times where I would get into going down the rabbit hole for these theories and then I would have to pull myself out. And it felt very disorienting because while it does seem very detached from reality, I don't even know what to believe anymore. It's just gotten that weird. Some accounts have taken
Very
it a little
strange.
unhinged. There are theories that because Yu Menglong's birthday coincides with the head of state, that he was used as a sacrifice. People have pulled a clip of the head of the administration in China stating
Fucking
that he
sacrifice.
believes that soon people will live to be 150 years old. And that has drawn a crowd of people to believe that there are ritual sacrifices being performed for the rich and powerful. And I know it sounds crazy, but we have the same exact conspiracy theories in the United States with child sacrifices so that the wealthy could get wealthier and that they can have more success and all of these. I think it's just embedded in a lot of humans because I guess that's just what we expect from power. And they say that you can deceive the king of hell and extend your lifespan if you find someone whose horoscope matches you and you guys have the same birthday. The king of hell gets a little bit confused. So they're like, oh, I guess you're already dead. I'm not going to look
The
for you
king
on earth
of
bring that
hell?
down here. That person, they
You
say,
mean the
is known
devil?
as the living mummy, living until it's time for them to be sacrificed. They say that he was killed on September 10th because it coincides with the end of the blood moon. So they think that this was the
Oh
sacrifice for the end
shit,
of the
dude, the blood
administration. Again,
moon.
it sounds like a very crazy theory. I think we've had similar theories happen in the United States. There's no way for me to even give you any sort of concrete evidence for this type of theory. I don't know. Then there is the 798 Cube Art Museum.
really
that
is
comes
no-
into question a lot. About 2 weeks after Yu Menglong's passing, it was recorded that someone had logged onto his Weibo account, and the amount of posts that he had on his Weibo went down. So 2 weeks after he passes away, someone just deletes one thread of photos. That's weird. Which ones? And so people start going cross-referencing. They start looking, and they find it's 3 photos that are connected to Yu Menglong visiting what appears to be a museum. It looks like it actually kind of looks like he's in a rug store. If you look at these 3 photos, it's him kind of laying down or posing in front of, it looks like red rugs that are hung about, and there's like rugs stacked on top of each other. It looks very artsy. At one point, you see some sort of silver chains on the side. It looks kind of industrial. Maybe it looks like a rug making factory. But interestingly enough, these are the photos that disappears. Like, what's in these photos?
Yeah, what the
that's
hell?
Weird. They try to trace the timeline of when those photos were posted, and it coincides with when Yu Menglong had gone and visited this museum called the 798 Museum. So now netizens want to know, what the hell is the 798 Museum in Beijing? What's going on in that museum, and why would someone want to delete pictures that he took inside that museum? They're not even controversial pictures. They're like modeling shots. They're like celebrity selfies. Like, it doesn't make any sense. People find one review because it was very hard to find what's going on inside that museum. Like, people are saying, oh, we think this is what was happening in that museum, but it was definitively, like, some people are saying, no, I think that's a different museum. There was lots of back and forth of like, I don't think that's a museum. I think that's a fake picture. I think that's AI generated. September 6th, somebody does review an exhibition from the website of the art museum. See, that's another thing. People are trying to track down which exhibit he went to and like why they would delete it, because art museums have different exhibits.
Yeah, it changes all the time.
Yes, so if they don't find the
True.
exact one that he had went to, then like it might not mean anything. So they're like trying to find the meaning of this exhibit. Like, what is this exhibit? So they find one from September 6th, which was still the exhibit that was in operation when he had gone. And they say, this reviewer says, location is great, parking is great, transportation is great, ticket is cheap, I highly recommend. And the photos that the user
Okay.
posts are literally just torture scenes of human bodies. They're not
Huh.
real human bodies, so we think, right? I mean, so I think, but there are some people who think they are. I don't know. It is just like gruesome, looks like horror movie. There is one where it just looks like a man's face has just blown apart. And
What
they
the
look
fuck?
very graphic, and they look...
What
they
the
look real and
hell?
They don't look real. They look real in the sense of, if I saw that in a movie, it would look very believable. I would say, whoa, that does not look super fake. It doesn't look like a clay figurine. It doesn't look like bad CGI. But they don't look real in the sense of, if these are real, the decomposition wouldn't make sense unless they're preserved somehow. So it's like this very weird... I know some people are saying these are real humans, but they would have to preserve the... It's just, overall, it's a weird exhibit. But art is subjective, I guess. But more
I
than that,
guess.
the organizer for this very gory, very bloody exhibit is Ji Guangguang's husband. The owner of the apartment, his husband is the one that runs this exhibit.
No way, bro.
The guy in the
No
black
way, bro.
shirt.
Holding Ji Guangguang.
No way, bro.
People wanted to make sure. Like, are we sure
Oh
though, that
my-
this is the exhibit that he went to? They cross-reference photos from this user, and they cross-reference the photos that were deleted on Weibo. And it's pretty clear that that is the exhibit that he visited. Yu Menglong did not post any of the gory exhibit, but he posted next to it, where there are rugs being hung about. There's these like chains that are being hung about. He posted there. And so why would they delete that? And why does it seem like there's not that much information about
Yeah,
this
why would they
specific
delete
exhibit
that?
online for people to see? Because isn't that the whole point of having an art museum? You want everyone to know about this exhibit. You want to do press tours. You want to do press releases, articles. You want curators to come into your exhibit and write about it. And there's just like nothing.
Oh
make
my
sense.
god, this
Guess
fucking
who also is
conspiracy of
frequently
this.
visiting this museum?
The red hair.
Mm.
Yes, red hair director. Now, allegedly on the museum's website, this is an allegation. This could be photoshopped, I can't tell you, but it was alleged that before this was taken down, it was announced that Yu Menglong was supposed to have an exhibit at this museum, like a collaborative exhibit, from September 6th to September 12th. So like right when that one ends, he's going to have his exhibit. But after his passing, they removed everything about it, is what people are saying. I don't know. I don't know if people who had gone to that exhibit would come out. I don't know if he would have fans that went, because these are his fans who support him, and then they would feel inclined to come out. So I don't know if any of this is true, but there is a rumor that it was called Unfinished Borders, which people are now definitely reading into it, wondering if...
Oh my god. Nice.
people were
Nice.
thinking that his life and exhibit were going
Shut
to be
up.
unfinished. That part, I don't know. But
Mm.
it does, there is a connection between Ji Guangguang's husband, it seems, to the exhibit and those pictures being deleted.
Jesus
There's another
Christ.
piece in the museum. This museum has been a huge topic of discussion. There's another piece in the museum. It's an old raggedy jacket that looks like it's been rolled around in dirt. Maybe there's blood on there. It just looks like it's been soiled. This jacket is just hanging on the brick wall of the exhibit, and Yu Menglong was pictured, allegedly spotted, wearing a similar looking jacket at the airport before. Some people are saying this art museum feels like a bunch of rich people, sick rich people who probably are into gore, who like these very bad, nasty things, and they are almost incorporating real life victimization and this museum all together in one piece so blatantly in front of everyone, and they might get off on that aspect as well. They're saying, what if Yu Menglong was tortured in this jacket and then they hung it up in the museum? Because they get off on it, because why not? People are wondering if this is just like a rape museum of all the artifacts and product of them essaying and their sick sexual fantasies. That's what people are saying online. I can't tell you if any of this is true. I will say the jacket does look similar, but that jacket could be just like a, I don't know, a Uniqlo jacket, a Target jacket, like a jacket that everybody wears. I don't know.
Like hanging a jacket is like, what kind of art is that even? Yeah. So weird. Everything's so weird there.
Then come the, there's even more about the museum, by the way. There's like this conveyor belt that people have been posting online. And again, I haven't physically been there, and like I'm just getting so cautious about AI generated content. So I can't tell you definitively if this is even a picture of the museum, but they say, you know how you go to a dry cleaner and they have that conveyor belt where they hang the shirts and they push the button and it just rolls. It seems like instead of shirts hanging, it's like skin suits hanging. It looks like someone just skinned someone's torso and then hung them on this conveyor belt, and it just keeps moving around and around. And the skin looks very realistic. A lot of medical professionals allegedly have been posting online like, hey, so I work in the medical field. I'm in a research lab, and I'm just going to tell you, it's a very good artist or it's something else. So that's what a lot of people have been saying.
What do you mean?
Overall, they're saying this museum is creepy. Another one is there was this one exhibit, a picture going around of an alleged exhibit, where there are just so many shoes. It's not a pair of shoes. Just imagine if you were to just buy one shoe of every pair and fill an entire massive grand ballroom with it. And then each shoe is tied to a red string, and they all go up into the ceiling at one focal point. And it's like this mammoth-sized red string shoe. It's very eerie because of how much string there is. You can't even see through the string. And then also it's eerie because you're human and you're like, why is there only one shoe? Why isn't it a pair of shoes? Whose shoes are these? Where did you get these shoes? The shoes look lived in. They look like people wore these shoes for a very long time. So whose shoes are these? People are pointing to one specific shoe, which they believe, they are alleging, this is a conspiracy theory, that is Kimi's shoe. They said that he wore shoes like this very often, and they think that that is his. And like we said, the red-haired director was always seen at this museum, and he was seemingly obsessed with Kimi. Additionally, a lot of people think that Kimi's alleged photo from his funeral many years ago, they think that he was mutilated and tortured to death. That is a conspiracy theory online. They think that it does not appear like his body is intact. His family did come out years ago to say, that's not true. Our son was very depressed. I don't know why people don't want to accept that he was depressed and he self-exited. We didn't want to see his hands. That's why it looks like he has no arms, because we asked them to put his hands into the flowers in the casket because they were just bloated and engorged, and we didn't like the way that they looked, and it was bothering us, and that's why it looks like that. People don't believe that.
Damn.
To this day. They think that his casket photos are unnerving. They say that it doesn't look like he really even has a torso. It looks like he's almost been stuffed with like a cardboard cutout of something to make it seem like his shirt is in place. But again, these are conspiracy theories. And then come the tunnel theories. I feel like every case, once the conspiracies start getting a life of its own, there must always be tunnel theories. I know with the Sean Combs case, there was tunnel theories between the tunnel of the Playboy Mansion and his house, and everything is always a tunnel. It comes back to
there's always tunnels, bro. There's tunnels everywhere. All around us, there's tunnels.
To a very big hotel, the Bulgari Hotel. The same one that the red-haired director and Tin Hai-rong had dinner in that night. They say there is a tunnel, an underground tunnel, so that they can transport him from the hotel to the museum and however they please.
All right, well, we gotta go. We gotta investigate these fucking tunnels, bro. All right, this... It doesn't necessarily mean, like, this is underneath the hotel. It's just, like...
I will say
creepy-ass music.
They do seem like in some sort of perpendicular parallel line, but again, cities are built on perpendicular parallel lines, so it's not necessarily the most alarming thing, but I don't know. The Bulgari Hotel has been more or less canceled in Beijing, China right now.
Oh, really?
There were a few videos that came out from people who claimed to have been in that hotel during that time of well, a little bit before Yu Menglong's passing. And they say that it was weird because you checked into this 5-star hotel, one of the alleged reviewers, and they were in the hallway. They hear screaming. They hear all sorts of things. It sounds like someone is getting tortured. And there's like little red droplets in the hallway floor. They zoom in on it. It looks like blood. So people are saying that sounds like the people who were allegedly with Yu Menglong. That seems to be connected. Then another person posted another video allegedly at the Bulgari Hotel, but they don't even say that it was at the Bulgari Hotel. They say this is leaked torture video and audio of Yu Menglong's passing. And you just hear people screaming, like, spit it out, hurry and spit it out. And this is how the USB theory comes about of he swallowed a USB and they're trying to get him to spit it out so that he won't have that evidence. But they're just filming the floor of what looks like a hotel floor. The tile is extravagant and the tile is oddly specific. It's an 8-point star. So instead of just like a regular star, it has 8 different legs on the star. And people are like, that is such a specific design. And they start looking into it, and that is one of the trademark designs of the Bulgari Hotel chains. They love an 8-point star. And that is how the Bulgari Hotel, the museum, they all become
Sussy,
points
bro.
of
This whole
captivity
thing
and
is
this theory of
sussy.
what happened to Yu Menglong, as well as the residential building. Most of the 17 people have denied any sort of involvement. I just went through the core group of people, but all the other ones, there's not as strong evidence tying them to. These are the main ones that people are focused on. They have denied any sort of involvement. Some of them have come out to say they don't even know Yu Menglong, to which netizens are now, I don't want to say they're making jokes, but they're sarcastically asking all these people, oh, nobody knows him? Then whose house did he go to for the dinner? Who was at the dinner with him if nobody knows him? Other netizens are saying, fine, I guess we were the ones at the dinner party then, because nobody else was. One
Shit,
netizen says, wait,
nobody was there.
knows Yu Menglong but us? Only netizens know Yu Menglong? They're just providing character statements almost for Yu Menglong.
Wait, is the light flashing behind you? Do you feel like it's flashing or no?
Huh?
No.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
People just want someone to be transparent.
What was that moment? Huh?
Providing character statements almost for Yu Menglong.
Hello? Oh.
Is the light flashing behind you? Do you feel like it's flashing or no?
I don't know.
Okay,
Oh my god, you just scared the shit out of this girl. Stop.
I'm sorry.
People just want someone to be transparent. And someone maybe is. September 12th, the day after Yu Menglong's passing, someone claiming to be Yu Menglong's cousin comes out on Little Red Note to release a statement. That very quickly gets banned, but it reads, I'm Long Long's cousin. Long Long is Yu Menglong's nickname. Right now, Auntie, Long Long's mom, and several other relatives are in Beijing, keeping watch over Long Long's body and waiting for the police's final investigation results. The autopsy results haven't come out yet. Auntie and the other family members landed in Beijing late in the night of the 11th, and the family is mainly focused on taking care of Auntie, so please don't worry. And he goes on to list a few very strange things. First of all, nobody alerted the family. This is what the so-called cousin allegedly claims. No one alerted the family that Yu Menglong passed. They found out through social media just like everybody else.
Bruh.
On Weibo. The cousin claims a few things in this post that are alarming. The police said that it was an accidental fall. According to them, what happened was pretty much what the media reported. So he's saying, like, the police haven't given any of our family members any additional information. They say that they were drinking at the friend's house until around 4 a.m. And then Long Long went into the bedroom, locked himself in the bedroom. And then at around 6 a.m., 2 hours later, the dinner party guests, they decide to leave and they go downstairs and they discover that he had fallen. And a neighbor walking her dog also discovers that he had fallen, and the police are called to the scene. Police take statements of everybody there, and everybody said that they were very close friends of Long Long. But this cousin is saying, I mean, I have talked to other people in this agency that I believe were close to Long Long, and they have told us specifically, the family specifically, that Long Long doesn't even know these people that well. Like, he's not friends with these people. He doesn't even know them like that. He just went because his manager asked him to.
Couldn't you do
He
an
also goes on
autopsy
to
and
state that
find
a
out
few
if he
very
was
strange things
drunk?
happened. Long Long left his phone on the living room sofa.
We are beautiful,
No, we're not.
all of us.
Some of us are not, bitch.
So
I'm
he goes
sorry.
and he locks himself in his guest bedroom of a person he doesn't even really know. Because again, they're like, we don't even know that he knows these people. But he's going to sleep over at their house after getting wasted. It doesn't make any sense. And then he's going to leave his phone on the living room sofa and then go into the bedroom by himself.
Oh, fuck. I
He
didn't
also
mean to
states
burn. I
that
made
there
that.
were footprints on the windowsill where he fell. There were dust on the screen window that was found underneath his fingernails. There were marks of his feet scraping the screen window downstairs. He says that police spoke to the neighbors, and all they know is that there were like 3 bottles of liquor and 3 bottles of beer that were drunk, but there were no signs of drug use. Like, there was security cameras in the hallway captured everyone going upstairs, but nothing else. They didn't capture the fall. They just happened to be not working that day. That's what the cousin, the alleged cousin, claims.
They
The cousin
happened
also
to not
claims
be
say
working
that statement
that
that was
day?
released by Long Long's dissolved agency, that was written by the police and posted at the police station. He's saying this is weird. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. He's saying, like, we're not really learning anything. And after arriving, police asked for the entire family members' mobile and WeChat numbers, and the hotel that the family had to stay at, they couldn't even book it themselves. They were like, no, the talent agency must book the hotel for the entire family, and we need to know
Why?
which hotel, and we need to know which rooms you guys are staying in, just so we can coordinate better if we need to reach you. But he's just saying it feels kind of weird. Additionally, he alleges that Yu Menglong's apartment where he lived in, family members aren't allowed in. Which,
Oh.
if this is a drunken fall, it's not a crime. Why can't they go into his
Yeah,
apartment?
why can't we go in?
It's
The
not
fuck?
taped off. It's not a crime scene. He ends the post with, I understand a lot of this is necessary for the investigation and handling to control the media attention, but there are still so many things that I just really cannot understand. Initially, people believe that this is not Yu Menglong's cousin, that this is some random liar on the internet. But the cousin, alleged cousin, goes on to post a family photo which includes Yu Menglong in there. And back in
Alright.
2011, Yu Menglong's account posted a comment under the cousin's page.
So
And-
this is a pretty much failed. It is the cousin.
Yeah. And then later, he goes on to post once more. The police came looking for me. Four of them. 2 cops, 2 detectives showed up. I'm not going to be updating this any further, so if you guys are looking for updates, you guys can just unfollow me.
Shit.
Then another later post. Yu Menglong's mother and relatives of Yu Menglong have all left Beijing. I'm not going to post anything more, so just unfollow me. Then the
Damn.
account gets deleted.
Damn.
In last episode, a lot of people were upset that this dissolved studio was the one to announce that the police ruled out any foul play, and they officially announced that Yu Menglong had
What
passed.
the
This dissolved
fuck?
studio that nobody knows who's even really controlling, maybe the police, like the cousin alleges, maybe somebody else. Even more suspiciously, though, September 16th,
wonder if I could just
2025,
delete
so this
the
is 5
head.
days after Yu Menglong's passing, the same studio releases another statement. This time they claim
doesn't
that
look
it's Yu
that good.
Menglong's mother that wants this statement out in the world. That she was like, can
Without
you
the
please post this
head.
for me? Because no, I don't have social media, and I just want this out there. This is her alleged note to the public. In the recent days, I have suffered enormous pain. My beloved son, Yu Menglong, accidentally fell to his death after drinking, leaving us forever. This sudden tragedy has plunged us into deep grief. Police have informed me of their investigation results, and all arrangements have been completed. I hope everyone will look at this accident rationally and stop making guesses. I also hope to return to a peaceful life as soon as possible, carrying my memories of Yu Menglong and living each day as best as I can. I believe this to be Yu Menglong's wish. Netizens do not believe this statement to be real at all. Chief among those reasons, they don't think this is a mother who could write such a formal, official-sounding statement so soon after her son's passing. And even if she did believe that her son's passing was an accident, there's no celebration of his life. There are no kind words to her beloved son. There's no personal touch. The rumors are harmful. Stop asking questions. Move on. That's the theme of her message. After her son passes away, it just doesn't make sense. And he's only spoken fondly and kindly of his mom. It doesn't seem like they had bad relations at all. It seems as if the entire message is, stop asking questions, don't investigate, let's end it here. Which is interesting because another letter
That's
starts
just
circulating,
gonna make
and
people
believe this to
investigate
be
even
Yu
more.
Menglong's mother writing this letter. There is a red thumbprint, so it's like a signed letter. And again, this could be anybody's
yeah.
thumbprint.
Red
Who's to say this is Yu
thumbprint?
Menglong's thumbprint? But you tell me which one sounds more like his mother. To all the kind-hearted and righteous people from all walks of life, I am Yu Menglong's mother. In this moment, with heart-wrenching grief, I am telling you the truth about my child's tragic misfortune, only hoping to seek a bit of justice for my wrongfully deceased child. On September 11th, 2025, my child left me forever. What I can't accept is that the murderer actually lied to the world that this was an accident, covering up this cruel crime with false statements and trying to erase my child's life. They fabricated lies, confused the public, and attempted to escape legal punishment by relying on their power. But they forgot that a mother's love and memory for her child will never be covered up by lies. I have in my hands key clips before and after my child's accident, testimonial records of insiders. This is sufficient to prove that my child's death was by no means an accident, but deliberate harm. Since my child has left us, I have sought help countless times, only hoping that the murderer can be punished as he deserves and that my child can rest in peace in heaven. But so far, the murderer is still at large and even tried to suppress the truth and block my demands. I know my power is meager, but I am unwilling to give up. My child was once so sunny and so kind, and he should not leave this world with any grievances, and even less should the murderer downplay his life with the word accident.
Damn.
I earnestly implore every conscientious person, if you have ever known anything before or after my child's death, and if you are willing to speak up for justice, please help me get justice so that more people can know the truth. I also earnestly implore the relevant departments to face my demands squarely, thoroughly investigate this case, let the evidence speak for itself, let the murderer pay for his actions, return justice for my child, return clarity to the world. I am willing to be responsible for every word I say, only hoping to comfort my child's spirit in heaven and let him know that his parents have never given up seeking justice for him. I don't know which one of these is real. I don't know if either of these are real. But if you had to choose, which one sounds real? And then
Second
there are
one.
speculations that the mother has been detained. There are also concerns that
Jesus
soon, if this
Christ.
conversation keeps going that the authorities are going to start sharing information that looks badly on Yu Menglong. There has been growing accusations, not accusations, but there has been this alleged leaked document that has been going around with the official Beijing public security seal in the corner, and it claims that Yu Menglong was under investigation for child molestation. Nobody believes it, and I know that these are things that we should not cast doubt on, but with everything I've told you so far, could you believe this without further proof?
Yeah, what kind of person would like make something like this, right? This is crazy.
I don't think there's anyone online that actually believes this. So one person just comments, it's really depressing that he tragically dies, and then he becomes an enemy to the government overnight. And nobody knows why. There is a video of Yu Menglong where he is seen interacting with kids, and people are saying, like, I mean, look at him. He says in the interview, if I didn't get into the entertainment industry, I would have become a teacher. A lot of people have come forward to say really amazing things.
You
about
probably
him.
should
His
have.
former middle school teacher has come out.
You probably should have.
我还记得啊，他的英语学得特别好，他的理科呢要差一点，但是呢，有时候把他叫到办公室去，提到他的作业做得不好的时候，他总是笑眯眯的，你就没有办法用这个狠话去批评他，因为他总是那样温和的。
Damn, this
这
is
个事情
actually
我可能会
insane.
一直要带到余生都要去关注了。前几日开始吧，就是给自己安排了一个任务。每天呢发一个朋友圈，然后每天发一个不一样的，不是为了让别人点赞，就是想让别人知道啊，看到的啊，他的点点滴滴呢，我把它保存下来，然后每天发一个不一样的，不是为了让别人点赞，就是想让别人知道啊，我们新疆走出去这样的一个好青年，他捐款过，而且还支教过，因为又有多少青年能做到这一点呢？
It seems like a lot of people say that he likes to live in harmony with the world. That was his energy. He was never super extroverted. He just seemed almost like that peaceful, wise character that's always there. Even 10 days after his passing, there was a donation made to a charity. And people saw his name and they were very emotional because it seems like he has these donations on autopay. It seems like automatically every month he's donating to people who need it more than he does.
No,
and as of right now, that's all we know about Yu Menglong's case. I don't know if we will ever know more. But it does seem like every time someone suspiciously dies, the conversation seems to get bigger, and it seems harder to censor it. And the first video that we posted about Yu Menglong's passing has been age restricted. I don't think that it's nefarious. I don't think it's anything related to any sort of government entity. I think it's just the content of the story is just, it's going to be age restricted. So it's inadvertently suppressed in its own way. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think happened? And do you think we'll ever get answers? Let me know in the comments.
They definitely killed him.
And I will see you in there.
100% they killed him. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind, bro. There's no doubt. Alright. I think I'm done. I'm done. Pretty much. Well, this picture needs still a little bit more work. The face needs to be more defined. I think the rib cage looks pretty cool though. But should I keep going? Should I finish it? Or should I end it? Lord Jeebus. I was watching Drewski before. I'm scared there's gonna be music in that shit though. I want to get claimed.
Props to Cardi. I feel you. I feel all your words and your honesty.
Do you have
What
a
is going
favorite
on with
project
the-
that's come out this year, or one you like?
Not a favorite, but I would say
Oh, what is going on with it? Why you got a wig cap on top of your hair?
From people asking me if Japan is okay, linking a rather ominous sounding video called What is Happening to Japan. It wasn't just the title and thumbnail.
What is
that were ominous,
happening
the
to
description
Japan,
reading,
bro? What is happening to fucking everything?
This was so damn fun. This is the first take. We did 2 takes of it. I shouldn't even done the second take, except I'm the neurotic type, but it was so perfect on the first take. And this thing he does here, where he
Genius.
He did not tell me he was going to do it. He just did it, and it made me laugh so hard I almost fell off the. I almost fell off the.
It's so great. You know what? The first time I realized that Plemons read the script was.
Alright. I'm just digging around right now. Alright, so thank you everyone for watching the stream. I'm gonna be back at 8 o'clock to play. I guess I was gonna play Fallout 76 because I thought it was gonna be free today, and that's my yearly tradition to play Fallout 76 when it's free. But fucking Bethesda, those cunts, they didn't make it free. So I guess I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna probably beat Yakuza 4. If you guys are interested in watching that. But yeah, we had successful photo editing stream. We watched Channel 5 and Rotten Mango. Good content. Damn good content. But yeah, I'm gonna be back at 8 o'clock in like 5 hours. So yeah. Thank you everyone for watching. Please watch the VODs. I'm very close to get monetized. Very, very, very close. So you can go on YouTube. I have all my VODs there. And yeah, slay. Bye. See you in 5 hours.